Live from Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, it's the Atlanta Falcons against the Dallas Cowboys. On a beautiful day in late September this afternoon, we have sunny and clear skies and temperatures in the low 70s. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the home of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Greg Gumbel. Both these teams come in here this afternoon with records of 1 win and 2 losses so far. And if it's true that every team in the National Football League has an Achilles heel, then for the Dallas Cowboys, it could very well be the Atlanta Falcons, who came in here last year and defeated the Cowboys despite posting the worst record in the league, and also won here in Dallas 2 seasons ago. I'm joined, as usual, by the Snake, Ken Stabler, and with those 2 consecutive victories here in Dallas, Kenny, and a big win at San Francisco last week, last week, the Atlanta Falcons are brimming with confidence.
Well, they're a team, Greg, that's trying to turn the corner to respectability, and the one way to do this is they need to string some victories together. They're playing extremely well on defense with their young linebackers. They need to continue the strong running game they have so that their young quarterback, Chris Miller, can throw the ball when he wants to as opposed to when he has to.
And he throws it well, as you will see. On the other side of the field, Tom Landry, of course, in his 29th year as head coach of these Dallas Cowboys, has a very young team out on the field this year, one that he likes very much.
Very much so. Their problems have come offensively. They've turned the ball over by Steve Pelluer inside the 20-yard line. They've had broken assignments. On defense, they've played well enough to be 3-0. They need to diversify their offensive attack to take some of the pressure off of Herschel Walker.
The Atlanta Falcons have won the toss here this afternoon and have elected to receive. Roger Ruzek will do the kicking for the Cowboys. There's Roger. Number 29, Sylvester Stamps, is deep for the Atlanta Falcons, and we're underway at Texas Stadium. Receiving this one at the goal line and dropping it in the end zone is James Primus, and he will cover it. And shades of what happened on the opening kickoff here 1 week ago. Last week it was a similar muff when the Giants kicked off to the Dallas Cowboys, and it was ruled a safety. No such thing this afternoon. There's the young quarterback, Chris Miller. 12 of 24, 175 yards in the win over the 49ers last week, and the defense he will face looks like this for the Dallas Cowboys. Ed Too Tall Jones and Jim Jeffcoat, the ends. Kevin Brooks and Danny Noonan are at the defensive tackles. Linebackers Ron Burton, Eugene Lockhart, and Gary Cobb. And in the secondary, a good one, Everson Walls, Robert Williams, Michael Downs, and Bill Bates. First down at the 20. And the handoff straight ahead is the rookie James Primus for a gain of 3. Here's a look at the Atlanta offense for you. Chris Miller calling the numbers at quarterback. Gerald Riggs and James Primus comprising the best rushing attack in the National Football League. Stacey Bailey and Floyd Dixon at wide receiver. Ken Wisenhunt, the tight end. And up front for Atlanta, Mike Ken, Jamie Dukes in for the injured John Scully, Wayne Radloff at center, Bill Fraley, all pro at guard, and Brett Miller at tackle. Bailey and Dixon flank to the near side, and the 2 setbacks behind Miller on 2nd and 7. And Miller looks to throw and goes deep, has a man wide open, and just overthrowing 86 Floyd Dixon.
Well, they got what they wanted. They came with a little play fake in the backfield, Greg, to try to get the safeties, Downs and Bill Bates, to stick their nose up there and then try to get a guy like Stacey Bailey in behind everything, or Floyd Dixon, I'm sorry. And they got exactly what they wanted, just a little overthrown.
Robert Williams, 23, covering for Dallas. And the incompletion will make it 3rd and 8. We said the Falcons coming in here with the best rushing attack in the NFL. 4 wide receivers into the game now for Atlanta on 3rd down. Miller's pass batted in the air and picked off. That is Danny Noonan, and Noonan in for the touchdown.
Unbelievable.
Ed Too Tall Jones makes a habit of deflecting forward passes.
Did the same thing against the Giants. He gets those big hands up, and what enables him to do this is he gets penetration against the tackle. Gets penetration, gets those big hands up, gets his tip, then it's anybody's ball. Danny Noonan comes up with it. Cowboys are off to a fast start.
17-yard return for the touchdown, and the Cowboys are on the board. Ruzek to try the point after. Steve Pelluer, the quarterback, will hold. And with 13:58 still to play here in the first quarter. The Cowboys lead it early, 7-0.
Are we going to see that again? Whose bat? Well, Too Tall batted it. Is that this year?
No. He's batted it twice, and Jeff Code has returned it twice against the Giants.
Cowboys extend a special welcome today to the Stanley Cup champion Edmonton Oilers. You can see the Oilers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins with NHL MVP Mario Lemieux on Tuesday night, 7:30 at the Union Arena. And tickets are
We can do this first.
Rainbow Ticketmaster outlets.
Chris Miller with Ed Too Tall Jones in his face, and that's a familiar opponent to quarterbacks coming in here.
Well, that's why it happens, is because he gets so much penetration against Brett Miller, number 62, their right offensive tackle. And when you get that kind of penetration, get in the quarterback's face, it blocks all vision. Then you get those big hands up. I've been a victim of this very same thing against this very same player. He's done it an awful lot against a lot of different quarterbacks and a lot of different teams. He causes a lot of problems when you let him get that kind of penetration.
Never missed a game in his career. Ed Too Tall Jones. And twice in the last 3 years, he's batted Phil Simms passes in the air, which Jim Jeffcoat has returned for touchdowns. And the Cowboys are taking advantage now, and something that Tom Landry will be happy to see.
Well, that's what they have to do. Their offense has struggled inside the 20-yard line, and their defense really has played well enough to beat 3-0. Their offense needs to take up the slack.
This is Sylvester Stamps at the 8. A hole at the 20, out across the 25 to about the 28 or 29-yard line, where number 40, Bill Bates, and this is not unusual at all, Mr. Bates in on the tackle. 17-yard return of an interception by Danny Noonan for the touchdown, the second-year man out of Nebraska and the Cowboys' #1 draft pick in 1987, and we have an injured player down on the field for Atlanta. 94 is Charles Martin, reserve nose tackle. Getting back to Danny Noonan, that's his first ever interception and first ever touchdown in the pro ranks. But as you said, Kenny, Too Tall has batted a number of passes around in his career. That's 72 in his 9 years, and his fourth already this year.
Uses that great height again and the penetration to get in there and do that sort of thing. But like you said, as long as they convert those into touchdowns, the defense is doing their job. The offense is where they need to get things going. Now, young Chris Miller can't let that sort of thing bother him right now. What he has to do is just stay with the game plan, get the ball out where he can do some things with it.
Too Tall and company set to go back to work, and Miller goes back into the air. Too Tall gets another one.
Yeah, looks like a volleyball game.
We may see young Mr. Miller going the other way before too long.
Well, it's the same thing we saw on the first series of downs. He just gets up and gets those big hands up, and how do you control that sort of thing? The offensive tackle has to fire out. He has to fire out and get into Ed Jones and bring those hands down, especially when you're throwing a little quick pass, a little short out, as they were trying to throw there.
He's going up against a pretty good one, too, and number 62, Brett Miller, the right tackle. 2nd and 10 from the 29. Straight ahead running is Gerald Riggs.
Well, that's what they have to do, is just settle their team down, settle the offensive line down, settle young Chris Miller down, and the best way to do that is get Gerald Riggs, get James Primus involved in the running game. That's the strength of their offense so far. So let's get the ball up here, let's start running the ball and settle things down and get the crowd out of the game.
Marion Campbell concedes what everyone realizes, that the best running offense in the league should make things easier for Chris Miller. 2nd and 5. And 4 wide receivers into the game for Atlanta. Miller going deep, has a man open, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Aubrey Matthews. Aubrey Matthews had a step on his man and couldn't hold on.
Well, he got the coverage that he wanted. Here you see it from behind the quarterback, and it's a man-to-man coverage on their four wide receivers. Number 38, Ron Francis, who is injured with a shoulder and hasn't started, playing the ball very well, makes up the ground and gets in his face and obstructs the vision of Stacey Bailey.
Rick Donnelly into punt, has a low driving kick that bounces across the 30 and will be down at about the 30 or just inside. 12:45 to play, first quarter, on the strength of Danny Noonan's touchdown. It's Dallas 7, Atlanta nothing. To get its collective act together, 12:45 to play in the first. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler here at Texas Stadium, where you've had the pleasure of playing every once in a while.
Been in here several times, and not too many times was it an awful lot of fun. When I was playing, this Dallas Cowboy team had a great team. Ed Jones was doing the same thing when I was playing as he's doing right now. Of course, Randy White is not on the field right now, but he's a standout player.
Number 16 is Steve Pelluer, fifth-year man out of Washington, and the Cowboys' fifth-round draft pick back in '84. Herschel Walker, the deep man in the I formation, and Timmy Newsom heading to his left in the lead blocker. Walker, the NFC's leading rusher. And Mike Gann with the tackle. Here's the Atlanta defensive line. Gann, Tony Casillas, and Rick Bryant in Marion Campbell's 3-4. Number 1 draft pick Andre Bruce, John Rady, Jesse Tuggle, and Joel Williams. Joel Williams moving to the outside, replacing the injured Marcus Cotton. Butler, Case, Clark, and Moore, the Atlanta secondary. On second down, this will be Herschel again. First down yardage and out of bounds.
Well, nothing new from the Cowboys. He's going to carry the load, and whether it's receiving the ball or running with the ball, he's a huge percentage of their offense, an all-around player that does everything you can think of. He receives the ball, he's a good blocker, all-around athlete.
Offensively for the Cowboys, Pelluer, Walker, and Newsom behind him. 87, Ray Alexander, 88, Michael Irvin are the wideouts, and Doug Cosby is the tight end. Up front, Darrell Smith, Nate Newton, Tom Rafferty, Crawford Kerr, and Kevin Gogan. Darrell Smith in for the injured Mark Tuinei, who is out for 3 weeks with a sprained left knee. Straight ahead is Walker, and Walker is met head-on. A gain of about a yard. I think official statistics have Herschel as carrying about 41% of the Dallas Cowboy offensive load so far.
And it's something that they're really not pleased with. Although he's a great player and he's done an awful lot for their offense and very successful runner and receiver, they would like to diversify their attack somewhat. Michael Irvin could do that with his emergence as a receiver. Their tight end needs to get a little bit more involved. Timmy Newsom as a receiver, a little bit more involved. Spread the ball around a little bit more.
Herschel spread as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. And over the middle, Pelluer finds his man, and that's Newsom out of the backfield. Up close to a first down. And John Rady in on the tackle.
Well, as long as you get this type of protection, you'll be able to stand back there and pick out that type of receiver. He gives the first look downfield. There's his safety valve, Timmy Newsom, number 30, right over the middle. Take that, get your first down, methodically move the ball down the field. Get everybody involved in the offense.
Chalk it up as a first down for the Cowboys. The ball now across midfield and at the Atlanta 48. Irvin and Ray Alexander split in the I formation. The give up to the first back is Timmy Newsom. Newsom breaks back across the 45 to about the 44. Gain of about 5. Let's take time here to go to New York and an NFL Today report with Brent Musburger. Brent? Minnesota Vikings riding the high of the victory over the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field last week. Second down from the 43. Pelluer for Walker. Walker with a big hole on the right side across the 30 and down to about the 27-yard line. Bobby Butler coming up from the corner to make the stop. Herschel Walker didn't practice this week because of a strained left calf muscle suffered in the game against the Giants last week.
Well, you can't block it much better than this. There's Darrell Smith, number 75, the left tackle, pulling up in the hole. Then once you get number 34 in the secondary, you got problems. Very powerful runner with tremendous speed, can do a lot of damage. Well, this particular situation right here, the defense of the Atlanta team needs to stop them right here.
Herschel already 4 carries for 30 yards this afternoon. Timmy Newsome out of the lineup, and Thornton Chandler comes in as a second tight end for the Cowboys. And out of that formation, Pelluer will throw, and he's got plenty of time. Now he's going to take off to the left, across the 25, and down to about the 23. Call it a gain of 5, and Pelluer comes in here as a pretty good rushing quarterback, second only to Randall Cunningham in running the football.
No doubt. They've given up only 2 sacks. They've given up only 2 sacks this year, and I think one of the reasons it's been only 2 sacks has been the fact that their offensive line is playing extremely well. The other reason is that this quarterback, Steve Pelluer, is such a tremendous athlete. You see it right here. He scrambles around and makes something out of nothing. You avoid the sack. You keep your good field position, protect your field goal range. That's one of the reasons they've only given up 2 sacks this year.
Linebacker John Rady just limped off the field. He's been replaced by 56 Joe Costello. 2nd and 5. Herschel Walker is met at the line, and a gain of maybe about 1 or 2 down inside the 20-yard line. Mike Gann with the tackle.
Talked to Tom Landry yesterday, and as we said, would like to get more variety into his attack, get more people involved. I asked him specifically if he liked the idea of Herschel Walker carrying as big a percentage of their offense as he's been doing, and he said absolutely not. Need to get more people involved, Michael Irvin especially.
Tom Landry trailing only George Hallis and Don Shula in the number of wins in the NFL for head coaches. 3 wide receivers into the game now for the Cowboys on 3rd down and 3. Little pitch to Newsome. Newsome breaks inside. Looks like he has enough for the first down. Rick Bryan, number 77, in tackle for the Falcons.
Well, defensively here, Atlanta needs to stop them. You talk to the Atlanta players and you ask them why they played so well, why they won against San Francisco, and more than one of them said that because they were playing in front, not having to play from behind, not having to play catch-up football. And right now it looks like that's exactly where they're putting themselves, in a situation where they have to play catch-up.
Pretty good drive for the Dallas Cowboys, much to Marion Campbell's dismay. First down now at the 16. Straight ahead is Newsome.
Well, this is the area on the field that the Cowboys have had their problems. Steve Pelluer has turned the ball over with interceptions down in here. Against the Giants, he had 1. Against Pittsburgh, he had 1. They had a busted assignment by some offensive linemen that has stopped them down here. We'll see how well they do down here.
Tom Landry readily admits also that down here in this territory, sometimes he has made some calls that haven't been favorable to Steve Pelluer.
That's exactly right. He said we haven't helped our young quarterback with some of the play selection.
2 interceptions out of those possessions inside the 20 so far this season. 2nd down, here's Walker. Walker straight ahead across the 10 and down to the 8-yard line. Brett Clark comes up from his safety position, number 28 for the tackle. Gain of 6.
Well, he has such great speed and the ability to change direction so quickly that he can string things out and cut behind whatever block that he needs to. Here's evidence of that right here. He gets in behind Nate Newton, 61, number 79, Darrell Smith, strings it out, cuts behind those blocks, and makes a nice play out of it.
In the tight going down here, now the Cowboys have gone to 3 tight ends. Cosby, Thornton Chandler, 89, Steve Folsom, the 4th-year man out of Utah, number 85. And a whistle blows on the field, and that's too much for the Falcons to deal with. They want timeout.
Well, there you see their sideline. Evidently, what they will do defensively is they will look over to the Cowboys sidelines. They will see what personnel comes in, whether it's 3, 4 wide receivers or 2 or 3 tight ends, and base their defense on that situation type substitution. Evidently, they didn't have the personnel that they wanted.
We asked Tom Landry yesterday just what it is that's changed over all of his years so far in the National Football League. He readily admits the number of multiple defenses that you look at during the course of a game.
And his offensive philosophy is you have to be very multiple on offense to compensate for all the multiple type defenses that you're going to face. Give the defense a lot of different looks, a lot of different formation with different personnel to offset all the different defensive looks.
Of course, in the blue jacket standing alongside Tom Landry is Danny White, who has known a few games here in Texas Stadium.
Danny White's been a solid performer for this team for a long time. When you come in and you play behind a legend like Roger Staubach and you don't win division titles and you don't win world championships, you're always going to be second-guessed and questioned.
Yet only 1,000 yards shy of Roger Staubach's team record passing.
And an extremely high winning percentage for a quarterback.
On third down, here's Walker. Big hole up the middle. First down to the 5.
Again, that's his ability with that great speed. When he breaks outside, he makes linebackers, defensive linemen, he makes them rush to the sidelines to try to cut him off because he has that great speed. Here you see it right here. You see the offensive guard and offensive tackle pull. They string things out. He cuts behind the offensive tackle, offensive guard number 68, Crawford Kerr's block.
John Rady, who had limped off the field a few moments ago, is back on the field and made that tackle. It's first and goal for the Cowboys now at the Atlanta 5. Clock running less than 5.5 to play here in the first quarter. Dallas leading by 7 and looking for more. The pitch for Walker with blockers in front of him. And Walker gains 2 on the play. Reserve defensive back David Crudup, number 30, came up to make the stop.
There you see Danny White going through the motions, sending in the plays. The reason he wears the blue jacket is because when he puts his hand in front of that blue jacket, it shows up a lot better as opposed to in front of that white jersey when he flashes the signals into Steve Pelluer.
Marion Campbell in his second tour of duty now with the Atlanta Falcons as their head coach in his second year on this go-around. Newsome and Walker on second and goal from the 2 behind Pelluer. Here's Herschel. And Herschel slow getting going and didn't get much. In fact, he didn't get anything.
Well, nice job by the Atlanta Falcons defense. The middle of that defense, Tony Casillas, Jesse Tuggle, 58, John Rady, 59. They just plug everything up. If you're going to run the ball inside, the first thing you have to do is be able to handle the nose tackle and handle the inside linebackers, which they don't do.
One of the guys in on that charge is number 95, Michael Reed, the second-year man out of Wisconsin. And Atlanta has not been the best at stopping teams inside the 20. Pelluer on the roll, looking in the end zone. Walker, touchdown. He is about as dangerous a receiver as he is a runner.
Well, it just puts so much pressure on the defense when your quarterback sprints out like this, and you have a player, a smart player like Herschel Walker, that see him sit right there and look at him break right behind that defensive player right there, find that open spot. Very intelligent move by him, and when you let your quarterback stay out there that long, you're in trouble.
Pretty impressive drive by the Dallas Cowboys. Ruzek will now look to add the extra point with Pelluer holding. Fumbled the snap momentarily and got it down for Ruzek. 3 minutes, 58 seconds to play in the first quarter, and the Cowboys have jumped off to the lead. It's 14-0. We'll be back. tough to tell that you're in Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, and depending on your interpretation of a cowboy, you could make your choice.
Well, all you see is blue and white stars and guys carrying pistols.
2-yard touchdown pass. Steve Pelluer to Herschel Walker, and Roger Ruzek will kick it away. For Dallas, they lead 14-0. Sylvester Stamps, 29 to the right of your screen. Gene Lang, 33, the former Denver Bronco, at the top. This one will be taken by Stamps at the 6. Breaks it across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. And Sylvester Stamps is used to doing that. He was the best in the National Football League in returning kickoffs last year, averaging 27.5 yards a carry. Told you that drive by the Dallas Cowboys ate up almost 9 minutes of first quarter time. 15 plays capped by the Pelluer to Walker TD pass. Gerald Riggs and James Primus now behind Chris Miller on first down at the 32. Miller with plenty of time, throws deep. Stacey Bailey is there, and Bailey will go.
Very nice throw. Very nice throw. Aired the ball out extremely well. They kept getting this in the first series of downs that they had the ball, the second series of downs that they had it, the third series they finally hit it. I don't see anything wrong with what they're trying to do. They're getting man-to-man coverage on their receivers, block everybody up, let my guy beat your guy, and deliver the ball.
Defensive pass interference, number 23. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Referee Bob McElwee says the penalty marker was on Robert Williams of the Cowboys, and the play will stand.
Well, here it is right here. It's the play fake, and the reason they throw the play fake at him is to hold the safety so that that guy can get in behind him. This young man's got a strong arm. You see evidence of it right here. There it is right there, right on the money. When you get the man-to-man type coverage, that's what you have to do. When you play man-to-man type coverage, that's the risk you take.
68-yard touchdown pass for Chris Miller, his longest. And the point after by Greg Davis is good. So the Falcons do what they have to do. They come back in a hurry. 3:38 to play, first quarter, and the Falcons cut the Cowboy lead in half. Longest pass and longest TD pass. Sure. Nope. .338 to play, first quarter here at Texas Stadium in Irving. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler, and previous longest pass Chris Miller had thrown as a pro was against the Rams last year, 57 yards. He just went 68 yards to Stacey Bailey. Bailey's first touchdown reception of the year, and just like that, it's the Cowboys 14 and the Falcons 7. Greg Davis will kick it away for Atlanta. Darrell Clack and Kelvin Martin are deep for the Cowboys. Comes up short, about the 13, and it's Martin. Martin breaks through across the 25 and across the 30.
Kelvin Martin returns to the 32-yard line.
And the young quarterback from the Atlanta Falcons, as you saw on the NFL today, is opening eyes around the country.
Strong arm. Sometimes you may question playing a man-to-man type coverage with a 14-point lead. The Dallas Cowboys playing this young man, Chris Miller, in man-to-man type coverages. When you have an arm as strong as his, you have receivers like Stacey Bailey, Floyd Dixon with that kind of speed. You've got a 14-0 lead. Sometimes you may play a little zone, make a young team try to go the length of the field.
Scoring drive like that Atlanta offense will help keep the legs on the linemen, won't it?
Yeah.
First down from the 31. Timmy Newsom. Left side for a couple. Jesse Tuggle, 58, there to make the stop for the Falcons. Call it a gain of about 3. Jesse Tuggle playing the inside linebacker position, usually held down by number 54. 4 is Joel Williams. Joel Williams replacing the rookie Marcus Cotton, who was lost for a couple of weeks with an injury. Cotton with a sprained ankle. 2nd and 7. Ray Alexander, Michael Irvin, the wide receiver. Play action, Pelluer will look to throw. Over the top, it is incomplete, and a penalty marker is down. Scott Case was on the play and is deemed guilty. Ray Alexander, intended receiver. And the call does go against Atlanta.
One of the ways that you'll use Herschel Walker as a decoy, the quarterback comes out, little play fake right there. There's the play fake to Herschel Walker.
Defense, first down.
And then try to get the ball outside to your wide receivers. Ball's thrown a little bit high, mistimed by the Scott Cates, the cornerback, and they get the penalty.
Pretty clear Scott Case hit his man before the ball got there. First down across midfield at about the 47.5-yard line. Walker. And Walker met it just about the line of scrimmage, might have gained 1. Mike Gann, number 76, in on the tackle with Joel Williams.
76, Mike Gann. 75.
First quarter score, Green Bay with the early lead on the Bears. Cincinnati leading Cleveland, and Buffalo ahead of Pittsburgh. Houston 1 point over the Patriots, and the Jets leading Detroit. New Orleans over Tampa Bay. 2nd and 9. I formation, and now the back split. Walker and Newsom. Pelluer will throw out. Sideline pass for Newsom, and Newsom in and out of his hands. Timmy Newsom's been a pretty dependable and reliable receiver over the
Always
years.
been used as a receiver out of the backfield, as a good play, as a good receiver, and coming out of the backfield, also a good blocker for Herschel Walker. Here you see it right here coming at you like you're playing linebacker. The ball is delivered on the outside. Ball should have been caught by Timmy Newsom. He usually makes this catch. What this does for the Atlanta defense now is it puts the Dallas offense in a situation where you think that they have to throw the ball, gives the defense a chance to rush their young linebackers such as Andre Bruce, and try to put some pressure on the quarterback.
To that end, 2 more defensive backs come into the lineup for Atlanta. David Crudup and Charles Dimry. And 2 more wide receivers are into the game for Atlanta. Out of the shotgun. Walker is out in the pattern. But this one is over the middle and in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, number 80, Everett Gay, the first-year man out of Texas. And the Cowboys will kick.
Well, he hit him in a bad spot. Hit him right between the 8 and the 0. He's got to come up with that one.
Mike Saxon, number 4, will do the kicking. And Lou Barnes will be back to receive, number 85 for Atlanta. Barnes at about his 10. Saxon, without much pressure, hits this one straight up and short, and a fair catch called for. Barnes pulls it in at the 18. 28-yard punt. Saxon will not be pleased with that one. And Atlanta will go back to work.
First down for the Falcons.
I like Chris Miller's comments in the NFL today, where the media guide says he's a 7 handicap golfer, but he says he's really a 3.
Yeah, little sandbagging during these celebrity tournaments, I would think.
Sounds a lot like you.
My handicap is my swing.
First down, Atlanta, their own 19. Riggs and Primus are behind Miller, and Wisenhunt in motion. Here's Riggs. Riggs picks his way across the 20 to about the 22, a gain of 3 on the play.
42, Gerald Riggs.
Gerald Riggs with a dandy game in the upset of the 49ers last week. 179 total yards, 115 of them on the ground, and 64 through the air.
The way most defenses try to stop Gerald Riggs is to play gap-type defense. It gets everybody in a gap, plug up the gaps, and try to make him bounce outside. Make him bounce the ball outside and run into the strong safety or linebacker support.
Cowboys will go with 6 defensive backs now, and Riggs is the lone setback behind Miller. And the give is to Riggs on the draw, and that'll get nothing. 99, Kevin Brooks, one of the Dallas Cowboys, stacking that one up.
Well, here's what we talked about. Watch the defensive lineman. Watch the defensive lineman right in front of the offensive guards. They just stack things up right there in the middle. Take those gaps, try to plug it up. You do that, you stand your center up. He can't get off on the linebackers. There's no place to run.
Kevin Brooks in his 4th year out of Michigan, the Cowboys' #1 pick in '85. 30 seconds remaining now here in the first quarter. And Miller repositioning Riggs behind it. 4 wide receivers in the game now for the Falcons, and Miller wants a timeout.
Well, what you have here is a situation on 3rd downs, even on the early downs. They're doing something called check with me. What check with me is the quarterback gets in the huddle. He says, check with me. That's the only thing he says when he comes up to the line of scrimmage. He takes a look at the defense based on what he sees, then he calls the play. Looks like then he was a little bit confused by the defense, didn't get to the play in time. He was running out of time on the 30-second clock.
For the terminology with that, Kenny, is that much different than an audible?
No, it's not any different at all. It's the same thing. All it is to get him out of the huddle as quickly as possible. To get him, that's why you only say check with me. It gets him to the line of scrimmage as quickly as possible, so he has a longer period of time to look at the defense.
Well, the Falcons have burned 2 of their timeouts already here in the first quarter. And Ernie Stautner is the man who seems to be confusing Chris Miller at the moment.
Stop the run by playing the gap-tight defenses, make Riggs bounce outside. The way they're playing the passing game, they're playing all man-to-man coverage. When you play man-to-man coverage, you've got to get some pressure by your defensive lineman.
3rd down play, 3 receivers to the near side, and a 4th to the top for Atlanta. Miller under pressure, swings away from it and throws out complete and close to 1st down yardage. It'll depend on where the ball is spotted. Jesse Hester, number 89, was the receiver.
Good athlete. When he can do that sort of thing, he brings another dimension to your offense. When he gets in trouble like that, the pass protection breaks down. When he has the ability, like a John Elway, to get outside, and he has that strong arm and good receivers, then he can do things as he did there.
Hester did get enough for the 1st down. It'll be 1st and 10 for Atlanta when we come back to Irving for 2nd quarter action right after this. Down here. Out of too tall when we can after a play or 2.
Yeah. Scar.
Back at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler ready for the start of the 2nd quarter. Not a bad first one. 14-7, Dallas in the lead. Ball at their own 29 for a touchdown. Give this to Sylvester Stams, who decides to go the other way, and he's dragged down from behind. 99, Kevin Brooks with the tackle. A loss of 2 on the play.
Well, a mistake by the running back. Anytime you start out like that and you get everything going that way and you try to reverse field, more times out of not that you're going to get run down by the pursuit or caught by the backside pursuit. You see it right here. Too Tall Jones, number 72, forces him back the other way. There's Brooks and Jeffcoat to make the play.
See that what a lot of coaches talk about is containment. Too Tall did that very well.
You bet.
2nd and 12. Riggs and Primus in I formation behind Miller. Miller, plenty of time to throw over the middle, has his man, and that's Primus out of the backfield. Ron Burton, the outside linebacker with the stop. Chris Miller eyeballs everything.
Talked to Chris Miller yesterday, and I asked him how he felt about the San Francisco game, beating a good team in their home stadium, and how that would go a long way to establish him as the leader and to be respected as the leader of this ball club, he had a real good answer. The answer was you have to do it every week in and week out. String some victories together.
You're not thinking much about the 49ers this afternoon. 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 4 for Atlanta. And the give is to Riggs. Riggs with a first down and then some.
Offensively, that's what they have to do, is they have to create the short yardage situations, the 3rd and 4s, the 3rd and 3s, 2nd and 5s, where you can run the ball, play pass, and get Riggs involved. And that's what they have to do, is to put the Cowboys on defense. That's what they do right here. You see their offensive line, Wayne Radliff, Jamie Duke, 64, behind Mike Ken, number 78. And you get those short yardage situations, that's when you can do some stuff.
Gain of 8 on the play. First down for the Falcons now. What a back Riggs has been over the years. That's Wisenhunt in motion. Here's Riggs again. Tries the left side for a couple.
The reason they will bring their tight end in motion like that is to change the support by the safeties. When the tight end comes in motion to one side, then the safeties will rotate. Watch the safeties. Watch Bill Bates. He's now playing free safety when he's a strong safety, and now they run away from him. He is not up on the line to support Bill Bates, being one of the better secondary tacklers. That's the idea, is to get him out of the game, because this man right here is a wild man on defense.
It's his fair share of tackles, doesn't he?
You bet. He says if you don't get him, they'll get you.
Sylvester Stamps out as a wide receiver. And Miller will play action and under the gun and pull down. 72, Ed Too Tall Jones.
Well, I don't know how many times we've seen this over the years. Number 72 working against number 62, Brett Miller. Gives him an outside rush. See, he throws that arm over the top, gets outside, makes the young quarterback step up in the pocket so he can get some help from his friends. But Ed says, I'll just do it myself.
Ed Too Tall Jones racking up another sack. That gives him 99 and a half for his career.
Yeah, I was on the bottom of several of those.
Atlanta, timeout on the field. There is an Atlanta player down, and it's Sylvester Stamps, who is just now getting to his feet. Sylvester, not the biggest guy on the field to begin with.
A versatile player that does a lot of things. Not a starting type player that plays over the long haul, but a player that comes in, catches the ball out of the backfield. They line him up outside and throw the ball to him. Does a lot of things for their offense.
Stamps, the fifth-year man out of Jackson State, at 5'7", 171 pounds.
Just not big enough, strong enough to be durable enough to be your every down type player. He's a role player.
Meanwhile, the Falcons are faced with a 3rd and 14 situation.
A situation that you try to stay out of, especially with a young team, young quarterback. You create situations like this against Ed Jones, against Kevin Brooks, Danny Noonan, Jim Jeffcoat. You're asking for trouble.
54, Randy White is now into the ball game on the defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I saw him yesterday. Didn't hardly recognize him. Last time I saw him was 1984, but I was under him.
3rd and 14, 4 wide receivers for the Falcons. Too Tall Jones in again. Miller ditches him, throws, and almost intercepted. Beating the ground is 45, Manny Hendricks, who had a shot at picking it off.
Well, Miller was lucky to get rid of the ball. Lucky it wasn't intercepted. Ed Jones just giving Brett Miller just all he needs this afternoon. He's just applying all kind of pressure. End zone shot of it right here, and if you can see to your left, there's 62, Miller. See, Jones beats him with no problem, forces the young quarterback out of his pocket. Lucky he didn't get this one picked off.
Rick Donnelly, number 3, into punt, and 83, Kelvin Martin is back for Dallas. Martin at the 25. Spins away from one tackler and falls to the 29. 36-yard punt, 5-yard return. Gary Wilkins, number 80, down to make the tackle for the Falcons. And as Steve Pelluer comes back onto the field, we'll take a timeout. Cowboys lead 14-7, 11 and a half to play in the second quarter.
The dynamic sound of the Dallas Cowboys band is now available for the first time ever on cassette tape. Cowboys band cassette is on sale at Texas Stadium Souvenir Stands.
Sylvester got his bell rung.
Electroflex Sound Warehouse Store. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys.
At least he's still on the bench.
Stephanie, for Peter. Is that the offensive line coach for the Falcons down there talking to the offensive line, especially to Brett Miller, number 62, on the end of the Falcon bench? Yeah, it is. Is it Hannafin? He's talking to the offensive line. They're having a lot of problems. Yeah, there you go.
.34 to play here in the second quarter. Dallas leading Atlanta 14-7. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler. Hope you're enjoying what has been a pretty interesting football game so far. A couple of big plays. One by Too Tall Jones, batting a pass that was returned by Danny Noonan. And a 68-yarder, Chris Miller to Stacey Bailey. Sandwiched in between there, a 2-yard toss from Pelluer to Herschel Walker. And that's how we've had our scores this afternoon. Speaking of Herschel, straight ahead for a gain of about 3.
33-yard line.
Sylvester Stamp still trying to shake the cobwebs out of a pretty good lick he took.
Well, their offensive line is having some problems protecting Miller, and you see Jim Hannafin, their coach there. There's Freilich and Radloff, Oswalt, number 62, Brett Miller's in there somewhere. Having a lot of problems with Ed Jones in this particular situation. Sometimes you will do something to help your offensive lineman. Keep a back end on his side to give him some help with Jones.
2nd and 7. Tight end Doug Cosby in motion, and he will lead Herschel Walker around the right side. And Walker doesn't find too much running room. Over the 35 to about the 37 or 38. Rick Bryan in on yet another tackle after a gain of 5.
Well, Rick Bryan, yeah, coming from the backside. Mike Gann, number 76, strings the play out real well and gives an opportunity for Rick Bryan, 77, the linebackers, to flow and make the play.
Word we get from the sideline is that Sylvester Stamps has pulled a hamstring and he will not be back this afternoon.
Occupational hazard when you run fast.
4 wide receivers in for Dallas on 3rd and a couple. Out of the shotgun, here's Walker, and Walker will not get to the first down marker. Picked up about 1, still leaves him 1 shy. The rookie Andre Bruce in with Mike Gann on the tackle, and the Dallas Cowboys will kick it away.
Well, that's what the defense has to do. They've got to stop them in those situations so they're not on the field so long. Dallas had an awfully long drive, an 8-minute drive early in the quarter, and that takes a lot out of your defense. Get in there, stop them, get off, let your offense get out there and go to work. Now the offense has to maintain control a little bit longer to give your defense time to rest.
85 is Lou Barnes back deep for the Falcons, and Mike Saxon will kick it away. Lou Barnes, one of Chris Miller's receivers at the University of Oregon.
Are they coming after him? Nope.
Saxon has lots of time to kick it away, and he has a good one. At 14 is Barnes, and very little room to maneuver.
Good coverage.
Billy Owen, 31, one of the first tacklers down. 47-yard kick, a 5-yard return. Falcons back on offense, and we come back to Texas Stadium right after this.
And we have an official timeout on the field.
14-7 with just over 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Remind you that this is a doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. Following this game, you will see the Rams against the New York Giants or the 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. Chris Miller back to work again at his own 19-yard line. Riggs and Primus in the backfield and Wisenhunt in motion. Riggs, big hole. Riggs breaking tackles and carrying a couple with him out to about the 30-yard line. A gain of 11, and most of that Gerald got by himself.
On his own. Just an off-tackle play behind their offensive right guard, right tackle. He cuts it back and runs right through the arm tackle of linebacker number 57, Ron Burton, right there. Runs right through that tackle and then carries a couple of guys. And this is what their young quarterback needs, is some players to help him out, to get some short yardage situations, create some first downs where he can do some things.
Pro Bowler the last 3 seasons, and he comes as no surprise to opposing coaches. or to Atlanta fans. He's a good one. Whisenhunt again in motion, and again the give to Riggs. This time, no hold. Give him about 2 on the play before the Dallas defense closed on him.
Well, the way they try to stop him, as we said at the top, is a gap defense. So you see Ed Jones take the gap, 99 Brooks takes the gap, make him do exactly what he does here, make him bounce it outside. No place to go, no place to bounce it. That's the way you have to stop Gerald Riggs. There's the guy that's the program that they're using, Ernie Stautner, their defensive coordinator.
Decent player in his day, wasn't
I'll
he?
say.
From the 32. Miller will go up top. And he's looking for Stacey Bailey, and he's got him. Robert Williams again, the Cowboy defender beaten on the play.
Just a real nice throw with a lot of touch for a ball that's thrown that far, right over the top of the defender. It's the same thing that they've been doing. You get your running game going, and they play fake. They play fakes to Riggs, the fullback. And watch the touch on this ball for a ball that's thrown 40 yards or so, right over the defender. Nicely thrown to Stacey Bailey.
They've been picking on Robert Williams more than just a couple of times so far this afternoon, and Stacey Bailey already up to 100 yards receiving today. 32 yards on that one.
Robert Williams in to replace Ron Francis, who was separated shoulder or dislocated shoulder a few weeks ago. Pick on the young guys, the new guys.
First down at the 36. Here comes Riggs around the right side. Gain of 5 on the play. Riggs came into this game needing 181 yards rushing to break into the top 20 all-time rushers in the National Football League. He would surpass Lawrence McCutcheon.
Good first down play, 5 or 6 yards. Now you can play pass, you can throw the ball, run inside, run outside. That's what they have to have the good first down plays.
And Kevin Brooks is helped to the sideline. 95 Mark Whalen, second-year man out of UCLA, is now replacing Kevin Brooks. On 2nd and 4, John Settle into the backfield now, replacing Riggs. Miller to the outside, has Settle out of the backfield, and a first down. Michael Downs, number 26, ran him out.
Well, as we said, when you get a good first down play to create the second down and short yardage plays, then you can do anything you want. And this is one of the things you can do. See, they get their running game going. Now they can play pass, fake the run, get outside behind his offensive lineman, get that back that he faked to. John Settle, number 44, good pass receiver in the secondary. When you create short yardage situations on the early downs, then you can do a lot of different things.
Settle, the second-year man out of Appalachian State, signed as a free agent last year. First down now at the 23. This is Settle. And those are the Cowboy defenders. Gain of 1. Gary Cobb and Bill Bates leading the charge, and Settle will come out, and here comes Gerald Riggs back into the lineup, along with 86 Floyd Dixon. This this Falcon offense really took a blow last week, Kenny, losing fine rookie tight end Alex Higbee.
Yeah, no doubt, a good player that's going to be one of the standouts for a while to help out the tight end duties with Ken Whisenhunt. Tore his knee up last week after making a nice catch.
Here's Riggs. Riggs across the 20 to about the 18. Gain of 5 on the play, and he'll bring up one of those situations that Miller can do a lot with now as the clock continues to run. 5:45 to play in the first half. A couple of wide receivers check into the lineup.
Well, a couple of schools of thought here. You've got 3 or 4 yards to go for the first down. You can try to get it all by throwing the ball, or you can even think in terms of a 2-down situation of getting this 3 or 4 yards on 2 running plays. Looks like they're going to throw the ball with all the receivers in.
2 extra defensive backs in for the Cowboys, Manny Hendricks and Ron Francis.
There's the check with me situation with him trying to get an audible, which he does to an option.
Riggs hurdles a tackler, and he's got a first down.
Well, we saw young Chris Miller walk up to the line. It looked like he would look to both sides, look to his left. He sees which way that the defensive line will be shift. In this particular situation, they see the shift. He goes down the line with an option to the side of the field where there are less players. It's that check with me situation that he calls the play at the line of scrimmage.
And Bill Bates was the tackler that Riggs hurdled for the first down. 48 yards on the day for Riggs so far, and another Atlanta first down, this one at the Cowboy 12.
Last short yardage situation, he play pass 2 times ago. This pass time an option, create the short yardage.
Here's Riggs again. And Riggs pulls his way to the 8. A gain of 4. 95, Mark Whalen again in on the tackle. And Gerald Riggs is still on the ground.
Just taking a little breather. He'll pop up. Well, maybe we can see what happened right here. It's a low-angle replay of it, and here it's just a handoff up the middle behind Jamie Dukes, Radloff, and Bill Frelick, the center of the offensive line, and maybe it's really hard to tell what happens here. Gets caught in a pile of people. There's Bill Bates. There's Whalen. There's Lockhart. Hard to tell what happened to him from that angle.
Looked to be a little bit stumbled before he hit the line.
They're looking at his left knee. Better angle of it right here. There's Bill Bates come flying in there, the wild man in the secondary. Hits him head on, sends Bates the other way.
I think Bill may have some recollection of that play at the game's end. But it is Gerald Riggs who was still on the ground. Gerald has come in here and had some good days the last 2 years against the Cowboys. Last year, in the 21-10 win for the Falcons, he had 119 yards rushing. The year before, in a 37-35 victory over Dallas, Gerald had 109 yards rushing, and he scored a touchdown.
Well, anytime the Falcons win, you can just about bet that Gerald Riggs had a big part of it.
Clock is stopped with 4:20 to play in the second quarter as they continue to look at Riggs, who is now off the turf.
He'll be back shortly.
Meanwhile, a couple of minutes ago, you saw defensive tackle Kevin Brooks, number 99, hobble off the field for Dallas. He has a twisted right knee. He'll be looked at halftime, and he may or may not be back in the second half. We don't know. Meanwhile, the Cowboys look to continue a drive that began at their own 19-yard line. They've had the ball for close to 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Settle replaces Riggs in the backfield. And Miller will roll to the near side with Jeffcoat in pursuit and throws it away.
Well, the smart thing to do, protect your ball down there, protect the field goal range. You're in there to score. You always have to keep that in your mind. You don't want to force things. Steve Pelluer could probably learn a little something from that.
So on third down now, 4 wide receivers into the game for the Falcons. Miller will have Bailey, Matthews, Dixon, and Hester as his wideouts. And Manny Hendricks and Ron Francis come in to make it 6 defensive backs for Dallas. Man coverage this tight, Kenny?
I would think so. Down this part of the field, you just about always anticipate a man-to-man type coverage.
Big play for the Falcons here. 3rd and 5. John Settle.
Also anticipate a blitz.
The lone back is John Settle. It is Settle straight up the middle. Penalty markers fly. As Settle reaches the 5, he's still about 3 yards shy of first down.
Well, they got that blitz we talked about.
And Miller just didn't get the play off in time.
Well, you see him there talking to his sidelines over to the Atlanta Falcon coaches, and he gives them a little spin of the finger. Get the play in sooner. Give me more time to get up there, get the play called, and get to the line of scrimmage and take a look in case I have to audible. Give me the people, the personnel, get it in sooner.
Now, Dallas has chosen to move them back. Would you give them the field goal there, or would you move them back and give them another chance at a first down or a field goal or touchdown here?
Well, I think I would move them back.
Well, that's what Tom Landry has done. 3rd down. Settle again, the lone back behind Miller. And Miller over the middle, touchdown!
Maybe I wouldn't move him back.
Floyd Dixon, number 86.
Well, on that particular part of the field, whether you move them back or not, I'm not so sure it's any big deal because you don't really have an awful lot of room to work with anyway.
Floyd Dixon on the receiving end of his first touchdown of the year.
And what makes it happen is you see Freilich, number 79, give him the time to work right there. When you give him time to stand back there and you give Dixon time, what he does, he gets Michael Downs, number 26, the safety, gets his back turned. Get his back turned, he doesn't know where the receiver is, he loses sight of the ball, then he's in trouble.
Michael Downs never turned around to look at the football.
As a receiver, that's what you try to do, though. You try to get the defensive back turned where he can't see the ball, then position your body between him and the ball.
Steve Dills holds for Greg Davis. And a good job of pulling a high snap down. 3:46 to play, second quarter. We're all tied at 14 all at Texas Stadium. But there are some Atlanta fans here, and they made themselves known when Floyd Dixon caught the touchdown pass.
Well, he may need a raise. I think we talked to their public relations people, and Floyd Dixon, you see there, number 86, asked for 58 tickets this week.
How many did you ask for?
I was just lucky to get a uniform.
Greg Davis kicks it away. In the end zone is Darryl Clack, and he won't run it out. So after an initial shocker, Too Tall Jones batting a Chris Miller pass in the air and Danny Noonan returning at 17 yards for the touchdown, the Falcons have recovered quite nicely. And Miller took them 12 plays, 81 yards.
Well, they get an easy one. The long one by Chris Miller is an easy one. The Cowboys get an easy one with the tip pass, and then both offensive earned touchdowns. They drove the length of the field to earn touchdowns. So the games kind of mirror each other on offense.
See, Chris Miller's doing pretty well after having missed his first 4 passes. He's now completed 6 of his last 7, 132 yards and a pair of touchdowns. First and 10 for the Cowboys from the 20. Pelluer with the pitch to Herschel Walker. And Walker out to about the 25, maybe the 26. Gain of 6 on the play. We'll call it 2nd and 4. And Rick Bryan again in on the tackle.
Nate Newton, number 61. Gosh, he'd rather make his car payment than feed him.
He is a big guy. He usually comes to camp around 350 or so, and they drop about 40 pounds off of him, and they say that they're pleased with him. Second and 4. And Pelluer to throw. Out in the flat, Walker with the reception and hit immediately by Joel Williams.
Try to get the ball in Herschel Walker's hands any way you can. Also, Gerald Riggs, any way you can. Throw the balls to him. He's basically known as a runner, but has caught an awful lot of passes, too.
Riggs sitting on the sideline with a sprained knee, and it's yet to be determined whether or not he'll be back in the second half or not. That'd be a big loss to the Falcon offense.
You bet. Chris Miller is the type of quarterback that could probably carry a team with his arms, but you really wouldn't want to have to do that. You have to have that balanced attack. Loss of Riggs would hurt awfully a lot.
2:15 to play here in the first half. And out of the shotgun. Pelluer fires one to the near side. Alexander with the catch. And first down yardage at about the 32-yard line. And that'll be the last play before the 2-minute warning. That's what we've got. 2 minutes to play. First half. Cowboys and Falcons in a 14-14 tie in Irving, Texas. Steph, not while I'm talking.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you were okay. But I mean, you could, whichever one of us isn't. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. No, I'm just thinking out loud. Cowboys have all their timeouts remaining, right? Atlanta's got 1 left. Hey, Marnie, what's he eating? Sprained knee is what Tuane has out for 3 weeks.
That's right.
Here in Irving, Texas, on a day custom made for Ken Stabler. I'm Greg Gumbel.
Custom made?
14-14.
Well, the Falcons have taken the crowd out of it for that long drive and tie the game up 14-14 and got the crowd out of it. Now they just need to play consistent ball and don't turn the ball over.
Plays like that long touchdown pass to Stacey Bailey and like Robert Moore's interception return against 49ers last week, that could become known as a big play team.
You bet.
Here's Timmy Newsome, and Newsome hit hard, and leading the charge again is Rick Bryan, who is having a terrific first half. Rick Bryan, number 77, in his 5th year out of Oklahoma. In fact, he plays alongside Tony Casillas, who is in his 3rd year out of Oklahoma. And the other defensive end, Mike Gann, is a Notre Damer, but he was born in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and almost went to become one of the Sooners.
Young defensive group, Jesse Tuckle, young linebacker. They got Rady, young linebacker, rookie Andre Bruce. Good young defensive team.
Pelluer up top is picked off. Scott Case with the ball and brought down at about the 47-yard line, and that gives the Falcons another shot at it with 1:19 to play in the first half.
Well, with inside of 2 minutes to go, the thing that you don't want to do, of course, is to turn the ball over down here. What you would like to do, if you can get the ball out to midfield or inside on the other side of the 50 where you may have a shot at a field goal, but just run the clock out. If you can't, don't force anything. This ball is just forced. Look at the red jerseys. There's 3 jerseys all around the receiver. You just can't force that. That's the problems that Pelluer has been having, is forcing the ball.
Michael Irvin, the intended receiver. That is 6 interceptions thrown this year by Steve Pelluer.
We talked to Robert Moore yesterday, the strong safety for the Falcons, and he said that's one thing that Pelluer will do. If you pressure him, he'll force the ball.
And 4 wide receivers on the field for the Falcons, and the Cowboys use one of their 3 timeouts remaining. And while we wait for the teams to regroup, we'll tell you about next Saturday afternoon college football action here on CBS. The LSU Tigers and the Florida Gators, a matchup of a couple of SEC teams. You may know something about that.
Yeah, get to take a look at Emmitt Smith, who I think had a pretty good day yesterday for Florida, and of course LSU. Ohio State kind of slipped up on them yesterday, but they've got a good young quarterback. Tommy Hudson's great prospect.
LSU in Florida, that's coming up live 2:30 Eastern time next Saturday afternoon here on CBS. We talked about defensive coordinator, but he's got a but we were talking with him yesterday, Kenny, and you just kept raving about him as a player.
Oh, he was a great player. Great defensive lineman, has a great feel for defense. Uses his personnel extremely well. Does gamble on defense some with sending linebackers and safeties. Has always been a man-to-man type defensive coordinator.
Randy White on the front line for Dallas. 1st and 10 for the Falcons. Falcons will throw, and Miller throws it away. He saw number 59, Gary Cobb, closing in on his intended receiver, John Settle.
Just as well, if he completes that, he gets somebody killed. So just throw the ball away and start over.
I know you mentioned Robert Moore a little earlier, and we talked to him. He kind of walked in and took a look at you and said, "Snake, you're looking a little bit like Bob Barker."
Yeah, a young whippersnapper.
One thing Robert Moore did say that was pretty accurate. He said that if he's got to be doing a lot of tackling on Herschel Walker, you know they're in trouble.
You bet. When he gets in the secondary, you're in trouble.
2nd and 10. And on the draw, it's Settle. Settle pulled down by Too Tall Jones.
Well, they've got to get up. They've only got 1 timeout left, and what young Chris Miller has to do now is get them up to the line of scrimmage and get something called that will complete the ball and get down in the field goal position, or either throw on 3rd down. He needs to get his 1st down.
Less than a minute
and the
remaining.
clock stops.
Miller with time. Throws it to the near side, complete and out of bounds is number 81, Michael Haynes.
Well, that's the idea right there. You try to take something that will enable your player to get out of bounds to conserve your time. You have to save that one timeout for the field goal, and that's exactly what he does here. He gets good pass protection from Radloff, the center, throws the ball. The ball is tipped by number 45, and a nice adjustment by number 81, Michael Haynes.
Haynes on the reception, and now 83, Aubrey Matthews comes up hobbling near midfield for the Falcons. And the third and final timeout of the first half is charged to Atlanta. Aubrey Matthews, pretty important cog when Marion Campbell goes to his multiple set offense.
Steve Deals, backup quarterback.
He's one of the guys the Atlanta Falcons have wanted. Want some experience to back up Chris Miller, somebody that Chris can lean on.
Sure, seems to be a trend around the league when you have a young quarterback to have an experienced veteran behind him that can grasp the offense real well, that can lend support to a young player. And that's what Steve Deals does there. He's really involved with the team. Talked to Jeff Van Note, a longtime center for the Atlanta Falcons, and he said that Steve Deals, you see there, and Chris Miller took the offensive linemen out for dinner and for drinks all this week after San Francisco win, and really bringing this team together.
First down, about the 29.5-yard line. And Atlanta really eating up now the offense. 4 wide receivers for Miller, and Settle, the one back behind it.
Watch out.
Under a rush, and he throws it away, and it's incomplete. 40, Bill Bates. 26, Michael Downs, coming in from the safety.
They bring both safeties, and that's one of Ernie Stautner's trends. I mean, that's what he has done in the past and always will do. Is to apply pressure, is bring more people than you can block. They bring they bring the linebackers. They bring Randy White. There you see 2 tall, 26. They bring him. They bring Bates and Downs, the 2 safeties, and young quarterback was lucky to get the ball away. Protect your field goal here. Don't force anything. Don't throw the interception because you're in field goal range.
Now 3 of the 4 wide receivers to the top. And Miller stumbles and falls out of the backfield. And now Miller wants his team back in a hurry. Clock continues to run. Stop for a moment now at 41 seconds, and now we'll start again. This time Miller has 2 wide receivers to each side. And the quick pass to the near side, and out of bounds is Floyd Dixon.
Well, they've got to kick the field goal now. They get the ball out of bounds wisely to stop the clock so they can set up for the field goal.
27 seconds to play, and Greg Davis takes the field. We'll remind you, coming up at halftime, Brent Musburger, Herb Cross, Dick Butkus scores and highlights, and also look back to some of the great Ram teams of the past, built around defense, the fearsome foursome. Now the offensive line is the talk of LA, and Dick Butkus has a look at the new stars, the fearsome fivesome, coming up at halftime. 43-yard attempt. Davis' kick is good. And after falling behind early, the Atlanta Falcons have come back, and with 22 seconds to play, now lead it 17-14.
Well, you like the way the young team is hung in. You know, they go down 14-0, and they come back with a long touchdown pass. They come back with a long drive, and you see the enthusiasm that this young team has right there. You see their kicker. The whole team feels that way. This team is extremely young, but they're extremely confident after their win last week over San Francisco, and they think they can win.
Greg Davis booted 47 and 41 yarders against San Francisco last week. 3 out of 4, and now 4 out of 5. We call these guys the Peach Fuzz Gang.
The Peach Fuzz Gang. 30 players, 26 years. That is an extremely young team on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. You would think that Marion Campbell is on the right track with this team if he can keep his skilled players like Chris Miller, his outside receivers, and the offensive line healthy. On defense, got to get Marcus Cotton back to go with the other young linebackers, and this team could be someone to be reckoned with.
We talked with Marion when he stepped right off the plane yesterday afternoon. He was smiling when he got off the plane, wasn't he?
Well, those weeks, the weeks when you win, go by a little faster and a little bit more fun.
Greg Davis, he of the 43-yard field goal, will kick it. For Dallas, it is Darryl Clack at the 7. And Flack is hit hard as he crosses the 20. Charging down to make the initial hit is running back James Primus, number 49. The rookie out of UCLA. So Pelluer has 18 seconds to work with here in the first half, and I don't expect that he will do much with it.
I wouldn't think so. The momentum has changed drastically in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and the crowd is now against the team, and before they were with them. I would just run the ball here, run the clock out, and go in and regroup.
And as you say, it's not going to get him a whole lot of popularity with this crowd as soon as they see the type of play that he comes up with. Although they are out of the shotgun, here's Herschel. And Herschel out over the 30. And that should do it for the first half. And the Cowboys can now regroup and look forward to receiving the second half kickoff.
Go in and regroup. Think about the things you did well. They had a long, long drive in the first quarter, and they've got the crowd against them now, as you can hear. They've got to go in and regroup. Think about the good things. Get rid of the bad things. Same on the other side of the ball with the Atlanta Falcons.
Tom Landry walks back to think about it and talk about it. And the Falcons will try to look to continue the success formula here in the first half. We've come to the end of the first half. Stick around. Much more to come from Irving, Texas. Atlanta 17 and Dallas 14.
And that's what they have to do, is maintain control of the ball.
One thing that Chris Miller's pass here to Stacey Bailey did was to get the Falcons back into the game in a hurry. This one came with about 3.5 to play in the first quarter. Had to do wonders for the morale on the sideline.
Absolutely. That's what the young, strong-arm quarterback brings, is the fact that he can get them back in. Conversely, on the other side of the ball, Pelluer has not thrown the ball very well at all, and he has to get their passing game going.
22 yards passing, all told, in the first half for Steve Pelluer. We'll watch the Cowboy passing game in the second half. And CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station. For second half kickoff, the Falcons will kick to Dallas, leading 17-14. Greg Davis will do the kicking for Atlanta, and back to receive for the Cowboys, 42 Darryl Clack. Top of your screen, 83 Kelvin Martin at the bottom. Has to be, as we said at the beginning of the broadcast, a pretty confident Atlanta team, and that's showing itself as they came back from a 14-point deficit in the first half. Clack from a yard deep in the end zone. Hit and dropped at about the 19-yard line. Number 80, Gary Wilkins, for his second special teams tackle of the day. And Steve Pelluer comes back to go to work, and the Boo Birds have been on him, and not just this week, Kenny.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him, not only with the Atlanta Falcons, but he's got his work cut out. He needs to play a little bit more consistent, not turn the ball over the way he's been turning it over. Get the hometown crowd on your side. They need to be on your side, backing him up. There's only one way to do that. Move the chains and score points.
When you're following in the footsteps that he is, it's understandable you're going to come under some pressure. But his numbers compare quite nicely with those of Danny White and Roger Staubach at the similar stage of their career.
The only stat that doesn't compare favorably is a turnovers. He's thrown a fairly high interception ratio.
Herschel Walker for a couple. And Rick Bryan again in on the tackle, helped out by Tony Casillas.
Rick Bryan having a nice day, but that only happens when you get a little help from your friends. Other people string things out, take up blockers where you can move to the ball. That's a young defensive unit out there that's going to get better and better.
The whole team is young.
Andre Bruce had his best game last week against San Francisco, and probably because he's been there a little bit longer now. He understands what he's doing. When you understand, you can play reckless.
Little movement up front, flags fly, and the whistles blow.
False start, 61, offense.
Nate Newton.
Big Nate Newton is the guilty party.
There's Nate. Needs his own area code.
It's one of those on one of those seafood diets.
Yeah, what is it?
If you see food, you eat it.
Seafood, you eat it?
14:07, 14:06 to play here in the third quarter. and a 2nd and 13. Pelluer throws to the far side, and he's got Michael Irvin out of bounds, just short of the first down marker.
Nice play, nice throw. That's the player that they have to get more involved in their offense, is Michael Irvin. He's a big play type player. He's a possession type receiver, good all-around player. But like I said, they need to get him more involved in the offense.
We were standing and watching Steve Pelluer throw the football yesterday, and we saw this.
That is somewhat of an unusual grip. Most quarterbacks will grab the ball or grip the ball with the laces on the first knuckle toward the fingernail. That's a little bit of an unusual grip, but Terry Bradshaw had an unusual grip. He put his index finger near the point of the ball, and he's got a handful of Super Bowl rings.
Yes, he does. Here's the pitch for Herschel Walker. Outside, and will not get the first down yardage. 58, Jesse Tuggle coming up with a tremendous play.
Well, that's what you have to do to Herschel Walker, is you got to string things out, force him to sidelines, don't let him turn that corner. That's what the defense does right now. They've done their part, make them turn the ball over. They're going to get good field position out of this, 30, 40-yard line, then the offense takes over. Team situation.
Fired up Atlanta unit we're looking at. They needed a half yard for a first down, Dallas did, and they lost 2 on the play. Lou Barnes back for Mike Saxon's punt. And we'll see if Atlanta goes after Saxon.
They're back out. Terrible kick.
Awful kick with a fairly decent roll and out of bounds between the 30 and 35-yard line. At the 33 is where Atlanta will put it in play. 1st and 10, 12:59 to play in the 3rd quarter. The Falcons with the football and a 3-point lead.
The Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders Fitness and Dance Academy offers something for everyone. Aerobics, jazz, ballet, tap, belting.
All right.
And private lessons for males and females of all ages. Call 556-9999 for information.
I guess we can forget about that first receiving touchdown, huh?
Yeah, that's fine. You bet.
For the 9th consecutive year, Frito-Lay and the
Area
Cowboys
code.
are teaming up for a better Dallas than the Frito-Lay.
No, zips letters, areas is bigger.
Frito-Lay donates $100 to the Cowboys Community
Okay.
Foundation for each point
Okie dokie.
scored by the Cowboys. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get a free Cowboys calendar with a purchase of Game Day magazine or with any Eggers photo processing or Kodak film purchase at participating area Eggers stores.
$12:59 to play, 3rd quarter, and as the Atlanta offense goes back to work, it will do so without 2 key performers for the rest of the afternoon. Gerald Riggs with a left knee strain. Sylvester Stamps with a right hamstring pull will not be back in action today.
Fortunately enough, the Atlanta team does have some depth, although their second-team people are awfully young. But John Settle has come in and done a good job, and Primus has played very well. And it's a deep team, but all their depth is extremely young.
Number 1 rushing offense in the NFL. It remains to be seen whether or not it suffers today with the loss of Riggs. 2 tight ends in for Atlanta, and it's Wisenhunt in motion. And Miller with a little play action going long down the middle and has his man. 82, Stacey Bailey, and again they pick on Robert Williams.
Well, if they get in the man-to-man coverage, and you hate to keep saying it, but it is the same thing over and over. They're playing their wide people in a man-to-man type coverage. When you get that, you just get the good pass protection. That's where it all starts. He gets that. The play fake holds the safeties. There's the play fake to 44, John Settle. And then Miller just airs it out. I mean, he just throws a rainbow out there. Look where the ball is thrown. The ball is way out in front of the defender and way out in front of the receiver, where the only person that can catch that ball would be the offensive receiver. Very well placed.
Stacey Bailey is having a terrific day. 3 receptions, 151 yards, and a touchdown.
Airmail.
Here's the pitch for Settle. Settle turns the corner and is bumped out of bounds at about the 10. Eugene Lockhart with the tackle.
Here you're playing middle linebacker, and here's what you got to deal with. Just a pitch to Subtle, and they string it out behind Fralick 79, Brett Miller 62. They get it, bounces it outside. It makes a nice play before you see 56. Eugene Lockhart knocks him out.
Gain of 5, call it 2nd and 5 at the Dallas 10.
John Subtle has stepped in and played extremely well. We had this team earlier in the year, and he stepped in and played well. And when you get a guy like Riggs who goes down, it's nice to have him.
I think it's 2nd and 4, and it's Settle. Settle bulls his way down close to first down yardage.
Ernie's a little bit concerned. How do you stop this team? They hit us with a big one. We're playing a man-to-man, and our guys aren't covering their guys, and they run the ball with Subtle, and they're getting 4 or 5 yards of pop on their running downs. I mean, we just have to play better. We've got to cover people, and we've got to stop the run.
And we don't mean to be picking on cornerback number 23, Robert Williams, but that's exactly what Chris Miller's doing.
Well, you get someone who is not a starter originally. He replaced Ron Francis, and that's the guy you go at. If you're a quarterback, you look out there, you see who the young guys are, the inexperienced people, and you try to put your people on those people.
3rd and 2 from the 7. I formation. Settle is the deep back, and the fake is to him. Lots of time for Miller, and he throws into the end zone. Wisenhunt can't get there. Chris Miller appeared to have all day to throw the football.
Well, he can drink coffee back there in this particular situation. He goes back there and he gets an awful lot of time, and he starts directing traffic. Watch him here. He's going to direct traffic. Move over there. Get over there. Get over there, and then he finally throws the ball. And he throws the ball in a good place. Only one guy can catch it. If it's incomplete, you don't risk the interception or knock yourself out of field goal range.
And Wisenhunt, the intended receiver, 24 yards out. Greg Davis will try the field goal. And out of Steve Dill's hold, it is good. The Falcons up their lead. It is 20-14, Atlanta. Greg Davis' second field goal of the afternoon, a 24-yarder, has boosted the Atlanta lead now to 20-14 with 11:07 to play in the 3rd quarter. Back deep for the Cowboys. Number 42, Darryl Clack at the top of your screen, 83, Kelvin Martin at the bottom. And not a bad recovery for these young Falcons after being down 14-0 in the 1st quarter.
Kind of quiet in here right now.
This will be Clack at the 4. The 20, the 30, the 40, and to the 42-yard line, maybe the 43 before he is brought down.
Well, maybe that's what you have to have. Somebody has to do something on your team to stir things up, to get the crowd behind you. They were quiet as a church mouse until they get this nice return right here, get some good field position. You see it right here. You see he's going to break in. He's going to give them a 40 or a 50-yard line spot for the ball, and that's what the offense has to have. Somebody has to step front, make a big play, and get your team back in it.
Gene Lang, reserve running back number 33, the man who brought him down for the Falcons, and Pelluer now with excellent field position. And the Cowboys have not done much since early in the game. Here comes Herschel Walker.
Rick Bryan again. He's all over the field making an awful lot of plays.
8 to 6 for Walker out toward midfield. As you said, Rick Bryan with one of his many tackles so far this afternoon.
Not your greatest pass rusher, but a good, solid defensive end. Not known to be a great pass rusher, but as I said, solid, plays the run well, adequate pass rusher. Good player.
Herschel Walker has already carried the ball 18 times today. Here's number 19. That's first down yardage. Number 64, center Tom Rafferty, left a shoe behind on the play. Steve Pelluer, I thought very quiet, very reserved young man when we talked to him on Friday.
Talked to him yesterday, or talked to him Friday, as you say, and Really didn't get an awful lot out of him. Nice young man, easy to talk to, but really didn't give us an awful lot of information. Maybe that's the Tom Landry philosophy, but he's under a lot of pressure here. And as we said earlier, you follow someone like Roger Staubach, who is just a legend in Texas. You get compared to him, you got your work cut out.
First down at the 45-yard line, and Pelluer will throw. Under pressure, gets hit hard as he lets it go, and it falls inside the 5, incomplete, intended for Michael Irvin.
Boy, he took a shot.
Pelluer did take a lick.
Pelluer's pass intended for Michael Irvin.
Well, here's an end zone replay of it, and I guess there are better ways to spend a Sunday afternoon. This is not one of them. There's the linebackers popping him right into numbers. He's lucky to get the ball away. Maybe lucky we didn't get an interference call here, but watch this. Watch this. There's a good way to spend it. Bang.
Joel Williams.
That'll make you sleep on your side of the bed.
With a full head of steam. Pelluer now 6 for 10 throwing on the day. 2nd and 10. Pelluer back at it, throws out here, and a fine catch by Walker.
And nice touch on the ball.
Joel Williams out on the coverage. Not much you can do about this one, though.
There's a low angle shot of it. Watch the touch on the ball, and it's also a nice catch by Herschel Walker. He gives him a look downfield, and then just touches the ball right over the receiver. Nice catch by Herschel Walker. Talked with him yesterday, and he wears gloves. He's not wearing them now, but he wears gloves in practice because he says it makes him concentrate more to catch the ball. Well, a little technique that he uses to help his receiving.
And how many sit-ups a day does he do?
Said he did 3,500. I only get to about 3,000, you know, but he says he does 3,500.
Timmy Newsom.
He does his in 20 minutes.
And off to
I did mine over my 15-year career.
Newsom straight ahead for a couple. Clock continues to run. We're down to 9:05 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
carry was to the 35-yard line.
Important if they do something with the ball here. Crowd's not with them, and they're behind right now, 2014. The offense has struggled other than their one long, sustained drive they had in the first half. Important set of downs right here.
You saw 68 Crawford Kerr trying to walk off a little nick on the sideline, and the offensive line is where the Cowboys cannot afford injuries.
Been banged up an awful lot. They brought in Bob White as a backup center. Got in other people to bring in because of the depth situation, offensive line. Been nicked up.
Bob White is a backup center. He is now in for Crawford Kerr at right guard. And Steve Pelluer wants a timeout. Does not sit well with the crowd. 8:31 to play. 3rd quarter. Cowboys with the football in Atlanta territory and trailing by 6.
Oh! I think they're going to throw the ball. Yeah. Yeah, let's get him. Let's take a shot at that.
They haven't thrown to Campsite.
That tight end, Campsite would be good. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Let's get to 84.
I mean, I think you know they've been covering Irvin pretty tight.
And down in here is a good spot. Tight, that's right.
All right. Kerr is back. Peter, I'm proud of you. 8:31 to play in the 3rd, and not one cheerleader shot yet.
I'm a little disappointed.
Cowboys have moved to the Falcon 35, and the fans, understandably, with a little bit more to cheer about now as They try to urge the Cowboys on to the end zone. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler, Irving, Texas. Doubleheader action still to come this afternoon here on CBS. The Rams against the Giants, or San Francisco against the Seattle Seahawks.
Two good games. Los Angeles using that 5 linebacker thing, causing a lot of headaches for people.
1st and 10 from the 35. And Pelluer will put it up. Pelluer goes deep for Herschel Walker.
Nice coverage.
34, your friend Robert Moore on the cover.
Robert Moore said I look like Bob Barker. Yeah, come on down. He better be paying attention to number 34 out there as he was just then. We talked to this young man yesterday, and he's all fired up, and they really think that they can win. They've got a young set of defensive backs back there, and Bobby Butler, Robert Moore, Brett Clark, Scott Case, and they're not the most talented group in the league, but they're enthusiastic.
Got a 47-yard return. Interception for a touchdown against the 49ers last week. Intercepted you yesterday, didn't he?
And I pitched him my championship ring and
picked it right off. Here's Walker. Walker, a gain of 5, looks like maybe even 6. We'll call it a gain of 5, and it'll be 3rd and 5 to go for first down. Rick Bryan again in on tackle.
76, Mike Mann, 77.
For Atlanta.
Comes their situation substitution people coming in now.
3rd down 5 from the 30.
Timmy Newsome goes out. Cosby goes out. In comes Everett Gay, one of their wide receivers.
Tom Landry just loves the number of young wide receivers he has on his team. 4 wide receivers in the game for the Cowboys on 3rd and 5. Pelluer out of the shotgun. Has time, throws incomplete, overthrows his intended receiver, and it was 88 Michael Irvin. And Bobby Butler was right with him.
Maybe just as well he overthrew the ball. Looks like Bobby Butler was really had good coverage on him. Here he is from the shotgun. They bring one of their linebackers, number 54. The ball is overthrown, but maybe just as well. Bobby Butler right there. You get somebody that's covered that close, you risk a chance of the ball being deflected or bouncing off a shoulder pad or a hand up in the air and deflected.
And Roger Ruzek, who made his first appearance of the season last week against the Giants and hit 1 out of 2 field goals, will now attempt one from 48 yards out. Steve Pelluer with the hold. And this one is going to be short and wide. And the Cowboys don't win themselves any fans. No change on the scoreboard, and Tom Landry is looking for some answers with 7:29 to play in the 3rd quarter. Atlanta still holds a 20-14 lead. Part of the crowd here in Texas Stadium don't sell out the way they used to. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler. And one of the things that's been in the papers is the possible sale of the team, and one possible sale to Robert Tisch will not happen.
Yeah, Mr. Tisch wanted a team. He was going to purchase a team, something a little closer to his home base in New York. Even speculated buying the Jets, I hear.
James Primus, a gain of 1. Talking with Tex Schramm down on the field before the game, though, it just doesn't mean that there aren't any potential buyers. That's just one possibility that is gone away, but there are numerous bids in for the team, and it's being considered. On the left of Tom Landry there is actor David Keith, whose movie Heartbreak Hotel is being widely discussed.
Pretty high-powered telephone man, huh?
Yes, he is. Talk about your payroll. Miller over the middle, got a man, and he's loose in the secondary.
Boy, you have to like the way he got rid of the ball, read the blitz, saw a lot of pressure coming. You have to like the way this young man gets rid of the ball and where the ball was placed. The ball was right in the numbers. Here he sees everybody coming from the outside. There comes Cobb, releases the ball extremely quick, right on time, and a nice tackle by the safety, number 24, Michael Downs, to save a big touchdown. There's the pressure put on by Cobb, and the young man just has a great presence on the field to know when to get rid of it. He throws a long ball extremely well, and he throws a short ball. He's playing extremely good. A lot of confidence.
Stacey Bailey continues to enjoy a fine afternoon, his best yet as a pro. Wisenhunt in motion on first down. Straight ahead, John Settle. And in for the hit is Bill Bates after a gain of 3.
John Settle on the carry.
Stacey Bailey's having a career all in one afternoon here in Irving.
They're covering him man for man, and they're taking advantage of it.
Gain of 4 yards. Will be second down 6.
Bailey is in his 7th year out of San Jose State. Got a 42-inch vertical leap.
You have to like the way the Atlanta Falcons play on offense. They spread the ball around. Stacey Bailey having a big day. Floyd Dixon has made some nice plays. Riggs has carried the ball a nice job. Settle is gaining yards. They spread the ball around.
On 2nd and 7, Miller flares out to the side, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Primus.
Well, he needs to make that pass just a little easier to catch. They do a play fake in the middle and hold the linebackers. Then they try to slip that ball out to the running back with some linemen in front of him. But you got to take a little bit off of that and make it a little bit easier to catch.
Number boy Herschel Walker is on sale today at Stadium Souvenir Stand.
Chris Miller just bought a new home in Atlanta. We asked him about the speculation of Atlanta Falcons team moving to Jacksonville, Florida, possibly, and he likes Atlanta. Just bought a new home there.
They like it there just fine.
You bet.
4 wide receivers on 3rd and 7 for the Falcons. And Miller got a blitz and throws it down the field. Complete and dropped by Stacey Bailey. And Robert Williams was right with his man that time.
With him good, except he had his back turned. He got him turned, and the ball was thrown up there. Probably should have been caught by Stacey Bailey. Here you see it right here. He gets Robert Williams turned, running stride for stride with him, has his back turned. The only person that knows where the ball is Stacey Bailey. A little blur drill, the ball goes right through his arms.
Greg Davis will be back to kick it. We're making Rick Donnelly.
Kelvin Martin deep to receive.
And Kelvin Martin deep for Dallas. Fair catch call at the 20. And that's where the Cowboys will put it in play after a 29-yard kick by Donnelly. 5:05 to play, 3rd quarter. Atlanta leads it 20-14. Hear about early on and very little since. Atlanta leads Dallas 20-14 with about 5 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. And remind you, next Saturday afternoon, college football action. The LSU Fighting Tigers against the Florida Gators. The Tigers ride the arm of Tommy Hudson, their Heisman hopeful at quarterback, and the Gators on the heels of sophomore running sensation Emmitt Smith. 2:30 Eastern, Saturday here on CBS. Back to live action. Here comes Herschel Walker. Gain of about 1 before he's shoved out, and that reliance on Herschel Walker now has the Atlanta defense really keying on him.
Well, you know, we talked to Marion Campbell yesterday, and we said, what do you feel about Herschel Walker? How do you stop Herschel Walker? And he says the same thing that most everybody says. You don't stop Herschel Walker. You just try to keep him from making the big play, from busting 175 yards, catching a short pass, turn it into a long touchdown. And they've done that today. They've contained him.
Herschel arrived today the 2nd leading rusher in the NFL behind Eric Dickerson. He's carried 21 times, 85 yards so far. 2nd and 9. And Pelluer to throw. Outside, he's got Ray Alexander. And Alexander wrapped up at about the 38-yard line. That's a 1st down. And a gain of 17.
But behind the quarterback, you see it right here. It's a little play pass right there. There's a play pass to Herschel Walker. Use him as a decoy. There you see number 87, Ray Alexander. Bobby Butler, number 23 for the Falcons, giving him an awful lot of room. Just take that.
They had high hopes for Ray Alexander last year, but he broke a wrist in training camp and spent the entire year on injured reserve.
One of the reasons that they could let Mike Renfro go. Mike Renfro has been an outstanding receiver here for many, many years. I played with him down in Houston. A quality guy and a good receiver.
Walker. Gain of about 3, and it'll make it 2nd and 7 as we are under 3.5 minutes to play now here in the 3rd quarter. Mike Gann, Tony Casillas. In fact, that entire front line of the Atlanta Falcons doing a good job today.
They have done a good job. They played extremely steady. They haven't had to apply very much pressure to Pelluer because he really hasn't done anything to dictate that. They haven't had to get to him. Their game has been to stop Herschel Walker, to string him out, and they've done that very successfully.
Tom Landry said you got to be fair and make note of the fact that everybody is learning right along with Pelluer on this team.
Exactly. They're pretty settled on their players. They just need for them to play better, to grow together.
Pelluer with a good fake up the middle and now starts to run the football. And Joel Williams is there to bring him down as he crossed over the 40-yard line. From around the NFL, the battle for Ohio being won by the Bengals. Houston rebounding from a thrashing at the hands of the Jets last week. The Jets in Detroit tied at 10 in the third.
Does Tom Landry kick around the idea of going with the more experience, getting Danny White in the game possibly? What do you think?
See, look at Danny White's career numbers.
Not bad numbers.
However, Tom Landry is committed to Pelluer, is he not?
I think so.
3rd and 6. Pelluer will throw it outside. Good pass, but Bobby Butler was there to defend on Michael Irvin.
Atlanta defense doing their job. Bobby Butler been at left corner for a while for Atlanta, playing very well. Nice job on Michael Irvin that time.
Mike Saxon.
It's Mike Saxon who will get the kick away from about his own 30-yard line. And Lou Barnes is deep for Atlanta. No pressure and a great kick by Saxon. Barnes at his 12.
Good coverage.
Will go nowhere.
Good coverage. Good kick, good coverage.
47-yard punt by Saxon, a 5-yard return, and the hitting machine, Eugene Lockhart, down there to make the tackle. And Miller will go back to work with a minute 57 to play here in the third.
Working on a pretty good day here. The one interception resulted in points. The tipped ball by Ed Too Tall Jones. Danny Newton scored early in the first quarter. Other than that, he played solid football. Made the big plays when he's had to. The long passes to Floyd Dixon.
Dixon and Bailey are Miller's wide receivers as they go 1st and 10 from the 17. And he'll put it up. And under a rush, he throws over the middle. And he will be ruled down. 95, Mark Whalen, the second-year man from UCLA, was in on Miller.
Well, 95, Mark Whalen, you see it right here. Gives the crowd something to yell for. He's working on All-Pro Bill Fralick and just beats him to the outside. Gets on top of Miller, and Miller tries to do the smart thing to avoid the sack and throw the ball away, but the end of the grasp rule gets him.
When you beat Bill Fralick, you've done something.
Bill Fralick, last 2 or 3 years, been All-Pro, one of the leaders of the ball club, kind of one of the elder statesmen, and still only been in the league 4 or 5 years.
2nd and 19 now. 4 wide receivers for Atlanta, 6 defensive backs for the Cowboys. And the give up the middle. Here's Settle. Settle looking for running room and doesn't find any. And it's the Cowboy defense which has now ignited the home folks.
Well, he started the whole thing right there. He got penetration and slowed Settle's momentum down and gave the opportunity for Michael Downs to come, from Gary Cobb to come, and some help from his friends to try to keep them back here, make them punt the ball from their deep in their own territory, and give your offensive set some good field position to work.
Too Tall playing in his 196th game today. Randy White is 197. Meanwhile, 3rd and 18. Miller rolls to his left in the end zone, under pressure and throws, and that'll be a safety.
Miller looks like he's hurt. It doesn't look very good either. Looks like he got sandwiched between Too Tall, or sandwiched by Randy White. It doesn't look very good. Gosh, you hate to see that.
Miller downing the ball in the end zone, and that's a safety.
Well, you hate to see what happens to the young man, but he's trying to make something happen. It's a designed sprint out to his left. He's got great ability to run around and buy time. But there's number 54 that's got him pinned, and here comes some help. I can't get the number right there. It's number 73. It's Danny Noonan, and he gets sandwiched between Noonan and some other people, and looks like he gets a knee. Another angle of it. There's Noonan giving chase behind him. Here's Randy White's going to contain. Right there. He gets hit. It looks like he folds his left knee up under him. Gosh, you hope it's not serious.
They are still working on Chris Miller in the end zone. Meanwhile, number 8, Steve Dills on the sideline as you look at Randy White. There's Dills. Intentionally grounding the football in the end zone gives the other side 2 points. So the Cowboys now pull to within 4, and they will get the ball back on the kick. And as Miller hobbles off the field, we expect to see Steve Dills, the 10-year veteran from Stanford, coming in on the next offensive series.
Well, he looks like he's in an awful lot of pain. He's played very well today. The thing I'm sure that he will learn out of this is, you have a 20-16 lead, and instead of taking a chance back in your own end zone back there, throw the ball away and let your team, let your punter punt the ball out of there. Your defense has been playing pretty well today, and don't take that kind of chance.
3 key performers now that the Falcons have lost this afternoon. First it was Sylvester Stamps, and then Gerald Riggs. And now the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, Chris Miller. Free kick from the 20-yard line. Rick Donnelly has the football, and back is number 83, Kelvin Martin. Chance for the Cowboys to make some headway now. Martin at the 27. Turns it upfield across the 35 to about the 37, maybe the 38-yard line. Michael Haynes, number 81, made the tackle for the Falcons, and here comes Pelluer.
Well, that type play that the defense made, you get Randy White and Danny Noonan and Gary Cobb, they make that type of play, and it changes the whole complexion of the football game. Momentum swings to the Cowboy side. Crowd's back involved in it. They get good field position for the offense, and one play turns the entire thing their way.
And as they work on Chris Miller on the sideline, you hope that it's nothing more than an ankle sprain. First down for Dallas. Herschel Walker.
Atlanta's defense has really done a good job of stopping Herschel Walker on the early downs, on the run downs when they're trying to create the short yardage situations, and they're doing a good job of containing him.
Clock continues to run. That looks to be the final play of the third quarter. Gain of 4 on the play. So when we come back, it'll be 2nd and 6 for the Cowboys. But there's the gun that ends the third quarter. The score: Atlanta 20, Dallas 16. We will pause now for this.
Just filing it, using it later.
Good. Okay. Super.
Yeah.
All right.
Better than me.
Well, get it right, Alan. Which is it? I bet it's neither one now. Heard a thing from the sheep today. Nobody heard a word about the sheep today. Back at Texas Stadium for the start of the fourth quarter. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler. 20-16 Cowboys. They have the football at the 40. And Pelluer has Alexander. Alexander breaking free across the 40, inside the 40 to the 38. 21-yard pickup, and Pelluer getting his right arm in gear.
Well, it all starts right there with the pass protection, and there you see it. You see Rafferty 64 giving him the time. Then Alexander does a lot of this on his own. He beats Case, number 25, who everybody has picked on an awful lot. He finally gets back in to make the play with Bobby Butler coming over to help. But Scott Case is the guy in the secondary that everybody has tried to pick on, although he burned Montana with an interception last week.
Robert Moore also in on the tackle. First down at the 38. Doug Cosby in motion, and the pitch for Walker. Penalty marker down. And we'll wait for the call. Referee Bob McElwee says holding against Dallas. Not too many of those yellow flags flying today.
It's been a fairly solidly played game as far as the penalty situation is concerned. The turnovers have been held to somewhat of a minimum, and it's been, I think both teams played pretty solid.
Holding, 78, offense, first down.
That's the rookie out of Boston College, Dave Wydell, who was taught by Ed Too Tall Jones.
Yeah, he said working against Ed Jones every day in practice really helped him. He said Ed Jones showed him every move that he had, his inside move, his outside move, his over-the-top move, and then when he ran out of moves, he said he just ran over him. But I guess if you worked in front of Ed Jones all day, every day,
that'll happen.
You betcha you'd learn a lot in a hurry.
It'll be a 1st and 20 for the Cowboys now. The ball back at the Atlanta 48. And Pelluer looking downfield under pressure and overthrows Doug Cosby. In applying some of the pressure, who else? Rick Bryant. Just a little while ago, you saw the injury to Chris Miller, and Chris was wheeled off the field. He is headed for x-rays of the wrist, which they hope, of the ankle, which they hope is nothing more than a sprain.
Well, it has to be a little bit better than a knee situation with the ankle, certainly.
2nd and 20 for the Cowboys now. And Herschel Walker split at the bottom of your screen as a wide receiver.
Draws a lot of attention to it.
A lot of time for Pelluer, and Pelluer will pull it down and run with it, and he's brought down.
Well, the crowd's all over him, but in defense of him, you look down the field, and we've got a great view of it up here. Gets a lot of attention, is drawn by Herschel Walker, and everybody seems to be covered. He really didn't have a lot to work with, and they're putting, you see Gann, number 76, putting a good rush on. He gives a look. There's Tony Casillas, 75, forcing him out of the pocket. And in all defense of the young quarterback, there really wasn't any place to throw the ball. He's doing what he had to do.
What a great job by Casillas and by Rick Bryant. 3rd and 20 at the 48 now. Casillas is out of the lineup in 94. Charles Martin replaces him in the middle of the Atlanta defense. David Crudup, Charles Dimry, extra defensive backs in, and 4 wide receivers for the Cowboys on 3rd and 20. Penalty marker flies. And this looks like it'll be a delay of game. Pelluer didn't have to play off in time. Not winning himself any additional fans.
Well, it's an important series for them. They got themselves back in the game and got the crowd back on their side with the safety on Miller. Got the momentum back on their side of the ball. Then they come up here, and their offensive tackle, Wydell, gets a penalty that forces them back. Pelluer takes too long in the huddle, forces them back. The kind of mistakes offensively is the reason that they are 1 and 2. Their defense has played well enough to be 3 and 0.
Meanwhile, Andre Bruce comes out of the lineup, and big Greg Brown, number 98, goes in. 8th-year man out of Kansas State. 3rd and 25. And on the screen, here is Walker. Walker runs over a teammate as he crosses the 45 down to about the 43. But the Cowboys will have to kick it away after a gain of 9.
They set up a middle screen. Watch the center and watch the 2 guards and the team in white. They let the people get penetration. Walker slips right in behind him, right there, number 34, and then he tries to do something with the ball on his own. It's a set up middle screen, but stopped short.
Lou Barnes.
Number 4, Mike Saxon in to kick. 85, Lou Barnes standing at his own 10. No rush at all on Saxon. He sends this one sky high. This one will reach the end zone. Into and out of the end zone. First down, it'll be Steve Dills at quarterback when the Falcons put it in play. 11:44 to play in the fourth quarter. It's Atlanta by 4. Okay. Texas, Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler. 11:44 to play here in the fourth quarter. Atlanta leading the Dallas Cowboys 20-16. And you've got to give this Atlanta team credit, as we said, Ken, down 14-0 in the first quarter. Danny Noonan returning a tipped pass for a touchdown. Also added a safety. So look at the yardage. Atlanta had a big lead at halftime. Cowboys have been slowly but surely cutting into that.
You have to like what the defense for Atlanta has done, though. They've contained Herschel Walker.
Quarterback Steve Dills, 10th year out of Stanford. And the pitch to John Settle. Gain of 2 on the play. Make it 2nd and 8. You joined us late. Dills replacing the injured Chris Miller, who went out late in the third quarter with an ankle sprain. At least the Falcons hope it's an ankle sprain. He's undergoing x-rays right now.
It's good to have an experienced backup quarterback such as Steve Dills to come in. Usually the experienced player can come to a new team and pick up the offense a little bit quicker than, say, a younger player. Once threw 62 passes in a game down in Tampa.
Wisenhunt in motion. Dills play action and throws an incomplete intended for Wisenhunt. Miller just one of numerous injuries today. Gerald Riggs gone for the day. A left knee strain. Sylvester Stamps, a right hamstring pull, and here's Chris Miller's injury.
Now, there's a reason we're seeing Steve Dills. He's trying to make something happen out of his own end zone, and Danny Noonan, number 73, giving Chase 77 Jeff Coat, and Noonan and Randy White, number 54, sandwich him, and gets his left ankle turned up under him, and hopefully it's not serious.
4 wide receivers for the Falcons, 6 defensive backs for the Cowboys. Dills under the gun, and down he goes. 59 is Gary Cobb. That's 5 quarterback sacks for the Cowboys.
Typical Cowboy defense, play man-to-man and try to get a big pass rush. There you see Too Tall applying pressure. Then here comes Darth Vader with the black helmet on, putting all the pressure on Steve Dills, and that's the typical Ernie Stautner type philosophy. Big push by your defensive lineman, man-to-man in the secondary.
Rick Donnelly standing in the end zone will kick it away, and Kelvin Martin is deep for the Cowboys. And a good kick. Looks like he might have lost that in the sun. It rolls along midfield and bounces out of bounds. That's where the Cowboys will put it in play when we come back. 37-yard kick, 10:36 to play in the fourth. Atlanta leads it by 4.
Reminder once again, ladies and gentlemen, the tickets to the future home game, with the exception of the Washington Redskin game, are on sale today at the stadium ticket booth near gate 10 outside sections 35 and 36, and are available Monday through Saturday at the Cowboys ticket office in Valley Ranch.
Welcome back to Irving, Texas. Doubleheader action coming up after this game, and then next Sunday on CBS, more doubleheader action. Starts with the NFL today, and then the Giants against the Washington Redskins, and then game 2, Detroit at San Francisco, Minnesota at Miami. That's all next Sunday here on CBS Sports. First down. And play action. Pelluer throws, and he's got a man wide open, Michael Irvin.
That's the play that Pelluer has to make. You get the good field position, you get the ball up around your 50, although there's a penalty. We'll see who it's on, but this is the play that he has to make to get down in there in scoring territory. They've had field position the last 2 series. Good field position.
78 offense. First down.
Number 78 is Dave Weidel.
Well, I guess Too Tall taught him so well that he just to hold, but the offense, this is where they have to get it done, and they haven't. The last series of downs, good field position, nothing. This time they get good field position. Here you see it on the left-hand side of your screen, number 78. Wydell puts a bear hug on him right there, just clamps and starts dancing with him and makes a nice tackle on number 76. And that's a no-no.
Mike Gann, 23-yard gainer, wiped out by the penalty. So make it 1st and 20 for the Cowboys now at their own 40.5-yard line.
Get this kind of field position, you got to come up with something. You got to do something here.
1st down 20.
Walker and Newsom behind Pelluer, and 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen. Pelluer deep. Cosby's got it.
Nice job by Doug Cosby of knowing where the first down marker was and getting past the first down marker for the first down. Here's a low angle of it. This time Wydell does a better job on number 76, Mike Gann. You see it right there. Like we say, good job of knowing where the first down marker was, and a nice low sliding catch by Doug Cosby. Hasn't really been involved that much in the offense. That's one of the things that the Cowboys need to do, is get more people involved in it.
10-year veteran, knowing, as you said, Kenny, where that first down marker was. They needed 20. He got 21. First down from the 38. Walker. And Walker is stood up at about the 36-yard line. Tony Casillas was like a rock of granite in the middle of the line. Pickup of 3 as we begin to wind down toward 9 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Tom Landry looks on. We asked him if it was still fun for him. He says if it wasn't, he wouldn't have signed a new 3-year contract last summer.
He still enjoys the preparing of the game, getting ready for the other team. There's some other aspects of it that he didn't like as much, some of the other things that surround football these days.
Herschel Walker is a wide receiver over the middle for Newsom. Newsom with running room across the 15, down to about the 12, maybe the 11-yard line. Scott Case with the tackle. We'll call it a gain of 24.
Well, it looks like they catch Atlanta in a zone-type defense, and they do. There's number 59, Rady. He's not covering anybody in specifically. He's dropping back to a zone. When he drops back, there's Timmy Newsom. It gets the ball right in front. Big, tall, rangy receiver, 225 pounds, and when he gets up ahead of steam, guys like Bobby Butler, number 23 there, have some problems.
Cowboys now first down at the Atlanta 11. Newsom and Walker in the backfield, and here comes Herschel. Penalty marker flies as Walker bangs his way down to the 5. We'll check the flag, and it's going to be a hold against Dallas.
That's the area they've had their problems, Greg, against the Giants, their problems. Here's a penalty.
Holding number 84, offense, first down.
Referee Bob McElwee calling the hold on Doug Cosby.
And it's the area they've had their problems, whether it was broken assignments, a penalty, interceptions. They get down in scoring territory, they always seem to cause themselves problems.
So that backs the Cowboys up now to the 21. Thornton Chandler is in as a second tight end, and you see what the penalties have done for Dallas so far today. Some of them at critical time. 1st and 20 from the 21. Pelluer under the gun, and down he goes. Rick Bryan, number 77.
Well, it's really good when your defense can get to the quarterback, especially from a 3-4, without using the linebackers. They do it here with just their defensive end. There's Gann, there's number 77, Rick Bryan, and they're doing that with a 3-man rush. And that says something for your defense, or either it says something for your offensive line.
And it is something that does not happen too often to Steve Pelluer, because coming into this game, the Cowboys led the league in fewest number of sacks allowed with 2. 2nd and 26 from the shotgun. Pelluer over the middle, has his man. 83 is Kelvin Martin. Pickup of 12 on the play should make it 3rd and 14.
Picking on Scott Case again, and that's been the That's been the situation in their games. Everybody goes at the young Scott Case, and no exception here.
We talked about the youth in that Dallas receiving corps. Ray Alexander, the oldest one at age 26. Those are some young legs out there for Pelluer to look for. 3rd and 14, 6 defensive backs in for the Atlanta Falcons. And out of the shotgun, Pelluer has Herschel Walker. Walker across the 10 and down to about the 8.
Real nice tackle by Robert Moore in the open field on Herschel Walker.
Now that forces a field goal situation.
And without this tackle, you're in trouble. This man will probably score. This is probably a tackle that saves a touchdown and will give the Cowboys the lead. There, Herschel Walker gets the ball. And watch this tackle. Good, sure tackle, wraps Walker up, forces him to go for the field goal.
Just what Robert Moore said he didn't want to have to do, but when the time came, he didn't do a bad job. Roger Ruzek, with Pelluer holding, will attempt a 26-yarder. And that kick is perfect by Ruzek. 5:28 to play, 4th quarter, and the Cowboys tighten it up. It's Atlanta 20 and Dallas 19. I don't know if Tom would be that daring. Good. And we start with quarterback Chris Miller, the Atlanta Falcons, and the good news for the Falcons is that x-rays are negative, and that is a sprain, nothing more than that.
Those toes belong to a sore ankle. But I'm sure that he's happy his ankle as opposed to a knee. That's what really scares you when you see a young player like that go down, or any player go down like that.
It was officially a 25-yard field goal by Ruzek, who will now kick it away.
Offensively right here, Atlanta's got to control the ball. There's 5 minutes, 28 seconds left. They got a 1-point lead. They've got to get some first downs, keep the clock rolling.
This is Michael Haynes inside his 5. Running room out over the 20 to the 22 or 23-yard line before number 52, Sean Scott, brings him down for Dallas. And here comes Steve Dills. I think it's an interesting situation. It's not the way things used to be, Kenny, where if your veteran quarterback went down, then you were faced with the rookie in these pressure situations. Things seem to be the reverse now with all the young starting quarterbacks in the league and the veterans who are there backing them up by design.
Absolutely, it is by design. Young developing quarterbacks and a smart older guy behind them that they can lean on, talk to, and somebody that can come in and play when the young guy goes down.
Dills to throw. And Dills over the middle, knocked down by Bill Bates. He was looking for Stacey Bailey.
Well, Dills will be real happy that he threw that one as high as he did. If the trajectory of the ball were any lower, he'd have been on defense all of a sudden because Bill Bates was zoomed in on it. But they've got, they're throwing the ball on first down. They're throwing a long pass like that. I've got a little bit of problem with that. Maybe throw something where you're sure you're going to complete the ball. Something short where it maintains the clock, where the clock keeps running. The clock is on their side right now. They need to use it.
Bailey and Dixon to the near side, and the pitch goes the other way. Primus. And Primus with very little yardage. Michael Downs, number 26, coming up from his safety position to make the tackle. Atlanta looking for another win, and back-to-back wins are something that haven't come easily for them. You have to go all the way back to 1986 when they came in here to beat the Cowboys 37-35, then went on to Tampa and beat the Bucs by 3.
With 3 different quarterbacks.
That's right.
Now 4.
3rd at 10.
If they win.
From the 22. Dills under pressure and goes down. The ball has been blown dead. The Cowboys scramble for a ball that is not officially loose. 59, Gary Cobb was in all over Steve Dills. 6th quarterback sack of the day for a tenacious Dallas defense.
Well, that thing's only got 13 pounds of air in it, but it sure draws a crowd. Watch this. There comes Gary Cobb, number 59, and here comes some other people. They bring a safety. That's Bates, number 40, coming from the outside. No chance for Steve Dills.
Dills was counting on a block from John Settle that he didn't get. And Donnelly to kick. And this will be an important punt. Good kick by Donnelly. Kelvin Martin at his 40. And tripped up as he crosses the 45 out to about the 47. David Crudup, number 30, for the tackle. A 45-yard kick by Donnelly and a 7-yard return. And once again, Steve Pelluer gets some good field position to work with 4 minutes, 12 seconds to play.
Can't ask for better field position. You get the ball at midfield. There's plenty of time. 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Field goal puts you up by 2. You would think that the Cowboys would be in pretty good shape here, but they really haven't done an awful lot with that field position in the last 2 or 3 series.
Good football game here, and another one still to come in your area. Either the Rams and the Giants or the Niners and the Seahawks. Pelluer will throw it. Alexander has a first down. Gain of 13, and Pelluer beginning to find the range.
Well, he's getting an awful lot of room out there. Ray Alexander's getting an awful lot of room, and it's Scott Case again. He's being the victim of an awful lot of work today, and rightfully so. He's just giving them so much room that they're going to take that. Ray Alexander makes a nice catch for the first down. Just take that if he's going to give you that much room. Work it down in there for the field goal.
Talked about Scott Case being thrown at. Scott Case comes to the sideline, and he's been replaced by Charles Dimmery. You see, the Cowboys are beginning to rack up the yardage here in the second half. First down, Pelluer fakes the pitch and the toss. Steve Folsom, number 85. A third-string tight end was the receiver, and there's a penalty marker down. It looks like the ineligible receiver downfield. Here's Bob McElwee's call.
Ineligible downfield on a forward pass, number 68. First down.
Crawford Kerr, the victim. Play like that takes a little while to develop an offensive lineman. They've got to stand in there, and then they want to get down and help. They know the ball's going to be thrown, the ball's going to be caught. They'd like to get downfield and help with the downfield, the blocking, and he just leaves a little bit soon. Yeah, here's a shot of exactly what we're talking about, and it takes a little while to develop because you've got a fake toss. See, there's a fake toss to Herschel Walker, and it takes time for that to develop.
Crawford Kerr coming through the line. First and 20 now. Pelluer throws and got Alexander again. Alexander inside the 35 to about the 32.
Well, they flip it over this time and go to work on Bobby Butler, and he plays him no different than Case does. He gives him an awful lot of room, and they're just going to stand up and pop that and take it. He gets a good pass protection behind Tim Newsome right there, delivers the ball, and now look where Bobby Butler is. Where's Bobby? There he is. He's playing way off. Just take it.
Close enough to measure, and that's what they'll do for a Dallas first down. So after picking on the far side of the field and Scott Case, Pelluer comes back to the near side. Dimmery is a rookie out of Nevada, Las Vegas, but certainly no stranger. He played the entire second half against the 49ers last week. As you look at scores from around the National Football League. First down. Here comes Walker. And Walker met near the line of scrimmage, gain of about 2. John Rady, 29, Joel Williams, or Rady, 59, and Joel Williams, 54, in on the tackle as we head toward the 2-minute warning. Herschel Walker, 25 carries, 96 yards as we hit 2 minutes to play. In regulation time, 20-19, the Cowboys looking for field goal range. Two minutes to play, Texas Stadium. Greg Gumbel along with Ken Stabler. Atlanta with a 1-point lead, and Dallas looking to possibly position Roger Ruzek for what might be a game-winning field goal. Dallas with 2 of its 3 timeouts remaining. The Falcons with all 3.
Be interesting to see the play selection down here. They've been ridiculed in the line for using Herschel Walker only as a decoy down in this particular part of the field, and whether or not they'll let the quarterback throw it, we'll see right here.
Walker and Newsom are behind Pelluer, and Irvin is in motion. Pelluer for Newsom, who dropped the football. If you're wondering about Roger Ruzek, the longest he has ever kicked a field goal is 49 yards. His long this year is 41. He kicked a 41-yarder last week and missed a 28-yarder.
Well, certainly not a lot from this position or this part of the field. There you see him warming up over there. Certainly they'd like to get the ball down in closer.
Ruzek in his 2nd year out of Weber State, signed on as a free agent last year.
You have to think, too, that you'd like to use a little bit of the clock before you kick the field goal to take as much time away from the Falcons offense as you can.
3rd down. And out of the shotgun, Pelluer under a rush, throws toward the corner, and there's Alexander. Alexander fights his way down, and touchdown!
Great individual effort on both parts.
He beat the rookie cornerback, Charles Dimmery.
But you have to like the position that Pelluer puts the ball. It throws the ball extremely outside where the receiver can adjust to it, and he does it under great pressure. There comes Moore, the strong safety from the outside. The ball is thrown way outside, but there's Alexander makes the play. And watch this effort. Great effort to pull away for the touchdown, beating Charles Dimmery.
A minute 48 to play, and Alexander gets the kudos on the sideline from David Keith and the rest of the Cowboys. Pelluer will hold. And the piece of the ball is hit, and it still goes through. It looked like number 41, Tim Gordon, got a piece of it.
Let's see if we can see who got it. Where it comes from, inside or outside. Looks like 41 to the left part of your screen, comes right between the tackle gap. It is number 41. Tim Gordon gets a piece of it, but not enough.
In fact, Gordon turned around, saw that it was good, and couldn't believe it. And Alexander still celebrating on the sideline.
Good core of young receivers for the Dallas Cowboys. There's 2 of them right there. Michael Irvin, number 88. Ray Alexander, 87.
And Everett Gay, number 82. Let's look at Alexander once again working on Dimmery.
Put a little wrinkle on him, and he gets his foot, and it's a nice effort here to pull away for the touchdown. Young, enthusiastic team. Evidence of it right here.
And back upfield, Steve Pelluer, after taking the hit from Robert Moore, signals touchdown.
If anybody needs it, he does.
You know, we asked Marion Campbell whether or not he'd be doing much blitzing, and he says he doesn't do that. Yet he sent the safety, Robert Moore, who would have normally been helping out Charles Dimmery on that play. He sent Moore after Pelluer.
The gamble that you take when you bring safeties is you have to play the man-to-man coverage, and you can give up the big plays. Marion Campbell's defensive philosophy is quite the opposite of Dallas. He plays more of a control-type defense, combination coverages. Dallas blitzes much more.
Minute 48 to play. Ruzek will kick. This is Haynes in the end zone, and he'll run it out. Stumbling across the 20 to about the 22 before he is tackled. 53, Garth Jacks, a reserve linebacker, down on the play for Dallas.
Well, he's played well in the second half. He's come back after a somewhat slow start in the first half. You see his numbers there, and if anybody needs a confidence builder, it's Steve Pelluer.
Meanwhile, for the Falcons, a field goal doesn't help, and the veteran Steve Dills has 79 yards facing him and a minute 43 to play. And Dallas is owning the football here in the fourth quarter.
One of the hardest times to have to throw the ball when everybody in the stadium knows you're going to do it.
4 wide receivers. Dills over the middle. And he's got Aubrey Matthews. Matthews out over the 40 to about the 42.
Well, they've got all their timeouts, and they've got some time to do some things. Get up, get the play call, conserve as much time as you can. I would think if the ball remains inbounds with the clock running, we might see a timeout this time.
Out of the backfield, Settle.
Get out of bounds.
Stepping over the 50 and out of bounds in Dallas territory at the 48-yard line, and that's close to another first down.
Well, this team doesn't think things are over just yet. They've got time to do some things. They've got timeouts left to do them with, and they've got the clock stopped, and they've got good field position to work.
Minute 15 to play. Here's a look again at Dills, who had lots of time to throw and picked out Settle.
Picks out the right guy, dumps the ball off. There's the pressure from Danny Noonan, number 73. John Settle, number 44, has presence enough to know what the time situation is and gets out of bounds.
First down Atlanta at the Dallas 48. Dills again outside, and this one goes by. Settle.
They are just putting so much pressure on Dills, it looks like a jailbreak up there. Jim Jeffcoat's coming, Randy White's coming, and they're just putting an awful lot of pressure on the young man. The offensive linemen need to do a little something to help him. Watch this. Here they come. He gets his back foot planted, and there's Jeffcoat all over the top of him, and he just gets hammered around. They've got to give him time to do some things.
Too Tall, meanwhile, is just dismissing everyone in a red jersey in front of him. Second and 10. 71 seconds to play. Dills with time to the sideline, in and out of the hands of Stacey Bailey. And he had 2 receivers in the same location.
Looked like the distribution of the receivers wasn't quite what it needs to be. They were awfully close together. Here's what we're talking about. Look at the line of fire right here. The ball is coming. Was it coming to the receiver on the 40, or is it going to the receiver on about the 32 or 33-yard line? Much too close together. Bad distribution.
First downs won't do the Falcons any good unless they maintain possession of the football. Third and 10. And on the draw, Settle with room to run. 35 down to the 32-yard line.
Need to get a timeout.
And Dills does just that. Gain of 17 for John Settle, and an excellent call.
It was an excellent call, Greg. They've come in with an extremely strong pass rush. There's Jeffcoat rushing outside, and they come inside of him with a draw to John Settle. Breaks the tackle right there by number 59, Gary Cobb. And they get down in where they can get the ball in to try some things down here. Throw the ball in the end zone, possibly.
You saw 38. Ron Francis still had his eyes on the receiver. Clock stopped with 58 seconds to play. I remind you, if it's Sunday, it must be 60 minutes. And if it's 60 minutes, everybody's favorite news magazine. 60 minutes tonight on CBS. We have the Cowboys versus the Falcons here. It's followed by Dukakis versus Bush.
No.
Then summary and analysis.
The presidents. Okay.
And then comes
Maida. She wrote.
And that's all coming up tonight on CBS. We still have 58 ticks of the clock here in the fourth quarter. Cowboys lead at 26-20. Atlanta with the ball at the Dallas 31.
2 timeouts to work with.
4 wide receivers into the game for Atlanta. Big rush, and the pass out here for John Settle, almost picked off by Jim Jeffcoat.
Nice read by Jeffcoat. He sees the back floating out there and put a little pressure on the situation. He's put a lot of pressure on the quarterback today. As good a pass rusher as the Cowboys have, right there. He had Too Tall Jones. He reads this real well. He sees the back. See, he goes out to his right. He sees the back floating out. He follows him out there. Almost gets does get a hand on it. Breaks the play up.
Collegiate teammate of Gerald Riggs at Arizona State. Second and 10. 55 seconds to play. On the draw again, it's Settle. Settle over the 20, loses the football, and recovered by Atlanta.
And maybe still get the first down, possibly.
And timeout is called, stopping the clock with 43 seconds to go. So the Falcons used their second timeout. This was near disaster for Atlanta.
Same draw they ran before. Outside pressure by there's Randy White, number 54. He breaks a tackle on Danny Newton, breaks a tackle on Gary Cobb. Somebody knocks the ball loose, I'm not sure who, and they're lucky to get the ball back right there.
Looked like Jamie Dukes, number 64.
Same play right here. There he breaks a tackle by Newton. There's Cobb, number 59, breaks his tackle. And the ball is knocked loose. It's hard to see the number, but like we said, it's they're lucky to get the ball back in that particular area of the field.
Looked like Gary Cobb, who's played another whale of a game for a second straight week for the Cowboys, knocked the ball loose, and it looked to be Jamie Dukes, who is starting at left guard in place of the injured John Scully with the recovery. So here's what we have. Ball at the 21-yard line of the Cowboys. Atlanta with a 3rd and 1. They've got two problems here. They've got to make themselves a first down, and they've got one timeout remaining. And they can't settle for a field goal.
Police Department representatives back of section 2.
This drive began way back at their own 21-yard line. And Steve Dills has done a good job so far here in relief of Chris Miller. 3rd and 1 from the 21.
Well, the Cowboys got an awful lot of people up on the line of scrimmage. You see them on the outside. There's the two safeties, and they're both coming. Well, they get their first down, but now they got to worry about the clock.
Settle straight ahead for a first down at about the 19-yard line. We are down to a half minute to play. Dills over the middle, has a man at the 10. That's Floyd Dixon. And Dills uses his last timeout.
Well, the thing you have to think about right here, you have to be concerned with completing the ball that's not in the end zone, because you don't know if you'll have enough time to get everybody reset and get another play off. The ball needs to be thrown into the end zone.
Atlanta now out of timeouts, and 21 seconds to go, 10 yards. Greg Davis can only hope he will have a chance for an extra point. A field goal does the Falcons no good. I think after the game, win or lose, Marion Campbell will say that he likes the way his team has performed for a second straight week on the road.
I agree, and especially fighting back like this late in the game when you know you have to go the length of the field. Field goal will not help you. Have to have a touchdown, and they put themselves in a position to score.
At this exact moment, Atlanta and Dallas, each with 324 yards in total offense. 21 seconds to play. John Settle, the only back behind Dills. 4 wide receivers. He throws to the far side and he bounces it in.
Maybe just as well. Maybe just as well.
Aubrey Matthews may not have been able to get out of bounds.
That's exactly right. There was a defender all over him. If he's tackled inbounds, can you get up and get off another play? 17 seconds, you've got to rally everybody. Maybe just as well. Line up, start over again.
Seconds to play. Third down. Dills to the end zone. Oh! In and out of the hands of Aubrey Matthews.
Nice job by Steve Dills. Got to come up with that play. You've got to make that catch. He gets the pass protection. You see Jeff Coat putting the pressure on. There's Radliff, their center. Randy White getting his hands up. Watch this. There's the ball. That ball has to be caught.
Ron Francis, one of the extra defensive backs in the lineup on the coverage. Fourth down. 13 seconds to play, and it comes down to this for Atlanta. Dills under pressure is sacked. The loose football is picked up. End drop. And Bill Bates is trying to track it down, and he finally does inside the 40-yard line.
Dills didn't have a chance.
I believe one of the people to get a lot of credit will be 77, Jim Jeffcoat.
Well, there's Bates coming from the outside. They get Jeffcoat, Bates, a strong safety coming. There's Michael Downs, a weak safety. They bring both safeties. Jeffcoat gets to him, and then it's a hot potato. But they had their chance to win. Aubrey Matthews needs to come up with that catch. It should have never come down to this particular play you're watching right here. Atlanta had their chance.
Bill Bates, I'm sure, will be questioned about his soccer playing ability as he booted that one downfield for a number of yards. And with 1 tick of the clock left.
Oh, it's the old, my favorite play right here. Oh, win the game play. I love this one.
Steve Pelluer will pull a Stabler.
There it is, the old right knee down.
Valiant effort on both sides, but it was Dallas eking out the win. 26-20, the final score for Ken Stabler. I'm Greg Gumbel saying so long from Texas Stadium. And CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station. Doing?
I'm fine, and you?
All right, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Ken Stabler's up here with me.
Nice game, Ray.
Thank you, Ken.
Hang with us for a bit.
Okay.
Along with Ken Stabler, and at the other end of the camera is number 87, Ray Alexander. 29-yard touchdown catch from Steve Pelluer for what turns out to be the game-winning score. Kind of a strange play, Ray, in that Charles Dimmery looked like he had you for a moment, but you were able to break away.
Yes, he played tough inside technique down on the goal line, and coaches saw that the 7 route was open. So we went to the 7, went to the corner route, and Steve got a blitz, and he put it up quick, and when I turned around, it was in the air, so I had to come back to the ball and do what I could with it. And luckily, we came out with 6.
Ray, Ken Stabler, it looked like you guys were doing a lot of business on Scott Case today. Was that by design? Did you see something in the films that led you to him?
Well, both him and Butler, Ken, were playing off deep to the inside. That was their tendency, so we decided to go to the weak side of the field and the strong side of the field and run the quick hitches and the quick, the 3 routes and the hooks.
You had yourself a pretty good day today. 6 catches, 107 yards, and of course the big touchdown. There's been an awful lot of criticism of Steve Pelluer, but he certainly came up big, particularly in the second half today.
Steve's a great quarterback. You can't ask any more from a quarterback. We're a young team. We're all trying together, and we're trying to pull out some wins.
Ray, congratulations on a good game. Keep it up.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Craig.